So Dr. Pai will begin, right?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a video that has been long due, like literally long due. And here we are on the last day of the year. We wanted to finish this video in 2018 for sure. So here we are on the last day of the year in 2018. And Moon is going to be entering Scorpio Jyeshtha in a couple of days, so it's great. So today we're going to be talking about some of the hidden knowledge and some of the misconceptions of Jyeshtha Nakshatra. Okay, and of course I brought the world experts, the Maharishis of the Nakshatra as the Pi team. So I'm gonna let them take over. So which Rishi wants to go first?
The Jyeshtha. No.
Rishi Pai.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kapiel. And
yes.
Namaste, everybody. And a very happy new year.
Sorry, I'm interrupting, but I think we should have multiple records. Maybe if there's some problem from Kapilji's side, then the recording will be lost.
No. It's recording. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So I think, he is fearful because this is the 18th Nakshatra from, Ashwini Nakshatra. We are finishing 2018 out there. We are already 2019 here in India. It's early morning for us, January, and probably this will be the last. This will be the last teens for many of you.
Yeah.
The 19 year is 2019, and no more teens for us in this century.
And
if you can live long enough, like a Jyeshtha, like Indra, if you can live long enough, I think you'll definitely see, the next millennium and the next teen of the millennium, 13. So 21, 13 might be the time that you would. So let's talk about Jyeshtha. And, Jyeshtha, the word Jyeshtha comes from Jyeshtha. Jya means one who likes to take victory, or one who wants to take anything by possession, by prize or by force or by conquest. So he is kind of this grid of life, full of life, wanting to be victorious, wanting to be liberal with his rewards, and also be very protective. So that is what Jyeshtha means, Jaya or Jyeshtha. So many a times what happens in our life is everyone we meet seems to be in some sort of fighting a battle. And we jump to conclusions thinking that, why is this person trying to be very Jyeshtha in real life, But we know nothing about them, and we don't know nothing about their karma. So at least be kind about the battles that they are fighting, because that is what Indra is. If you really look at the grid of life, Indra is the remover of this grid of locks, or the grid locks in our life, because that's where he operates. And he is also the kind of a spirit chaser, So he is kind of a light weaver. He's a healer. And if you really understand Indra, he is the lord of the multi-dimensional holographic grid. So as you would say, why you would say holographic grid? I think Santip has mentioned this in some previous videos that we have done about, Jyotisha being in holographic grid.
Yes.
And he is more like the lord of this multi-dimensional holographic grid, because he is the one who actually gave us Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is a spell book. So that's why I said remover of gridlocks, spirit chasers, light weavers, healer, So he is the Lord. If you really look at the multi-dimensional space, he is the Lord of the scalar waves, which neutralizes the unconscious behavior in all of us, because we already have certain subconscious patterns already there, because we call them as samskaras or vasanas. Samskaras are those patterns that are there etched in our subconscious mind. And that's why he's called as Indra, because who is Indra? Indra is the controller of your Indriyas, and hence is called as Indriya Virya. So there's somebody who is very sovereign and who has control over this multidimensional space, multidimensional waves, and also about being the guardian of Mother Earth. He's very protective about Mother Earth as well. That's something many people don't talk about, and that's why a very important mythology many people do not must have not heard about is Indra was also the protector of cows. And once a group of they're not asuras, they were called as panis, a form of asuras, they stole his cows. Okay, they stole his cows. So when they stole his cows, he couldn't find out where, who has stolen it. So he sent his dog, Sarama. It's a female dog. It's called Devashuni. Devashuni means the dog of the gods. Okay, Deva, Shuni. Shuni is for dogs. So Sarama actually crossed a river, and then it actually found that, these panis had actually, taken hostage and stolen the cows. And he came back and informed Indra. And Indra went on his battlefield and he, got the cows back. So if you really understand about what was the significance we're talking about, Indra and, Sarama. Sarama is nothing but, Sarama is the mother of the two big dogs which accompany Yama always, the two one-eyed dogs. Yama is usually accompanied by two dogs. Okay? So it's the mother, Sarama. So if you really understand what was Indra holding was Gaia. Gaia in Sanskrit means cow. And we talk about the galaxy or, the Milky Way. Why would you call it the Milky Way? So Indra is nothing but he's the lord of this Milky Way, and he holds all the cows which, feed the milk to this galaxy. Gaia is cow. And that's where the root word comes, galaxy or galaxy. Okay? So there is something very, very significant about this connection. And what is Indra? Indra was also called as Indra or Sakra. Chakra. What is Chakra? Chakra means the faculty of Chakra is called Indriya Virya. That's what I was talking about. He is the lord of Indriya Virya, which means the vital power. And what does the vital power do? It gives you the mental fortitude. Okay. It also gives you a very audacious mindset and very overpowering physical vigor. And it also helps you to neutralize and tackle all the challenges that comes across your way. That's Indriya Virya. Whenever you are challenged, that's when your Indriya Virya kicks in. That's your challenging part kicks in. And that is what Indra is all about. Indra is what we say, Indra is not an individual. It's a position. It's like the president of United States of America. Whoever assumes the throne during that period is called the president of United States of America. Similarly, anybody who assumes the throne is called as Indra. Anybody can be Indra as long as we can control our Indriyas and can challenge Indra, because Indra always tries to give you or lure you with things that you are destined to enjoy. Okay? He might want to give you, if you say, no, I don't want to have a car in my life. Imagine then he'll make you win a lottery. He says, okay, there you are. Now you have to enjoy it. Now if you say, no, I don't want this lottery, I'll give it to, my best friend, Kapiel Raaj. Let him have a Ferrari. I don't want to have a Ferrari.
I'll send you my address.
Yeah. So that's like, giving away something which he's wanting to give you. He wants you to enjoy, and that is where, the Vitrasur was, the dragon demon that we're talking about. The foremost that he's known for, is his colossal feats on the battlefield, and also how he slayed, Vritrasura, slaying of the mythological beast, Vitra. So what is that Vitra? Vitra is nothing but all those desires of your life. Everything, bigger than life. You just don't want to have a Mercedes or a Maserati. You want to have, maybe a Bentley, or you want to go for a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. That's the Indra. He's not satisfied with whatever. And that's why the slaying of the Vitrasura is slaying of all the desires that you have accumulated. Because if you really understand, the anthem of Jyeshtha is nothing but, I know better than you. That's the anthem.
Okay.
And there's always a hungry stomach, an empty wallet, and a broken heart that needs to teach something. And the best lessons are learned by controlling your own indriyas. So this is essentially what I wanted to say about Indra and Jyeshtha. But there are so many other facets we can talk about as we go along, because Indra is also the ruler of the eastern direction. Okay, he is also one of the Dashadikpalas or Astadikpalas, the guardians of the 10 directions. And he's very well known for his Vajra, the thunderbolt. Okay, and his wife's name was Sachi. So Indra rules the east, and all the other, Brahma rules the zenith, Agni, southeast, and so on and so forth. But in the ancient scriptures, when we talk about Jyeshtha, there is another reference that you need to understand, is Jyeshtha Nakshatra was called as the Rohini of the southern hemisphere.
Because it's directly opposite to Rohini.
Yeah, exactly. And if you really see, because Indra is because he goes through a lot of, because he's also called as Sahastra Yoni. I mean, his body had, 1,000 female reproductive organ, because he was cursed by, sage Gautama with Ahilya. But if you look at all the ancient scriptures, Indra's status was the most celebrated. Even in the Rig Veda, there are more references to Indra than any other deities. In the hymns of Rig Veda, the glorification that they make about his protective powers, his oversized ego, his multifaceted acumen, and his colossal feats on the battlefield. There's no parallel to Indra. So no might or forces can match his prowess. And that's why he was called as a Mahendra as well. Maha Indra, or the preeminent, the strength and the distinction that he shows. That's all.
It's so funny because my dad's name was Narendra.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
See, this is Narendra. Nara means human, Manushya. Nara Indra, which means he is the Lord of all human beings. That is Narendra. So Mahendra, Narendra. So there are so many. Even the other name of Surendra. Yeah, exactly. So everything which comes with Indra is something to do with his ability to have control over some facet of his life. So, and he had another name, that's another name for Vishnu as well. It's the same name called Panduranga for Indra. Nobody really tells that he called Panduranga. It's another name of Indra. Why he was called Panduranga? Panduranga means the destroyer of the stronghold. And he can be the housebreaker. He can come in as a thief. Now, housebreaker has two meanings. One is a thief who comes to steal something from you. Another thing is stealing something which is very, you're possessive about. If you're very possessive about your spouse, then he might steal your spouse. If you're possessive about your wealth, then he might come to, it's not about saying that he wants to steal, but he wants to see the reaction, how you react. So Indra, he loves all the pleasures, intoxication, drinking soma, very well known, very well documented in the Rig Veda. Yes, Indra's Soma, Indra, and Agni. These were great drinkers of the elixir of life, which is nectar of immortality. That's Soma. It's not Amrita. Amrita is very different. Soma is very different. So he tries to steal this Soma from his father, and he likes to dance after drinking it. This is very much how Indra is. He likes to steal it, and he steals it from whom? He steals it from the supreme creator, Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma likes to beat a batch of Soma, and this guy, he likes, if he's not given the Soma that he requires, he will break in. He will break everything, and he says, no, I want to have this barrel of Soma. So he is sometimes very unruly. He is very boisterous in his behavior, and he's very well known for all his sexual encounters. But from the sexual encounters, he goes through a lot of transformations as well. Because he goes through, repentance, and because he's been cursed, and he goes through repentance, and then there is penance. So he tries to, go through these cycles. The cycles about, his feats and obsessive nature at times, about sexuality, infidelity, and nobody should think that this is something I'm talking about, the negative side. It's all about, controlling your indriyas. That's what it is. If anybody can control your indriyas, then you can become an Indra, because Indra will be threatened with his throne. And that's how the nature of every individual who has a Jyeshtha is, because they can form a very patriarchal or a matriarchal sort of a family where they show a great amount of admiration or respect and a very protective nature. See, for in today's time, if you have to talk about a soma draft, it is like an intoxicant, which is an energy drink, like you have the Red Bull, or a Lucozade or something like that, because that gives you that power, keeps you awake all the time, active, concentrating. And most of his attendants are called as the Maruts. Maruts are Raudras or Rudras. They always follow him wherever they go. And that's what you see, a lot of commonalities you see with movies, where you see horses and, the black knights who come riding on the horses. They are the Maruts, with their faces covered.
Like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a lot of the rings, like the hood. And, these are the Maruts, which come through the horses. They come like winds. And they usually are the attendants of Indra. They come as messengers sometimes. They are the storms which come in this, the southern hemisphere. The Maruts are said to be, these storms which are going through in the oceanic belt. So these are some of the attributes of Indra that I've talked about. But Jyeshtha has, all of these qualities of Indra is what you see. I speak very heavily about the deities, because I think, the rest of them can touch upon what are the, the other qualities of, but unless we understand who Indra is, we'll never be. Because there's only one, there are a couple of instances where Indra really felt threatened by his position. The one of the things was Rama's father, which is Dasharatha. Dasharatha. What is Dasharatha means? Dasha means 10. Dasha means 10. Ratha means chariots. So Dasharatha means was a title which was given to him because he had control over 10 chariots. What are those 10 chariots? The Panchendriyas and the 5 Panchendriyas and the 5 Jnanendriyas. Panchendriyas means Pancha Indriyas are your 5 senses. Okay? And Jnanendriyas means is what gives you the information and the knowledge which helps you to control. So these 10 things are, he was the lord of these 10 Panchendriyas and the Jnanendriyas. That's why he was called as Dasharatha. So Dasharatha was so powerful in his senses and controlling his senses that he almost threatened Indra. But he was never desirous of Indra's throne. But if he really wanted, he could assume that throne. That's why he was called as Dasharatha. Okay, the Indriyas, the control over the 10 Indriyas. And another time that he got really threatened was, what was the young boy who went to meditate in the forest? What was his name? Can anybody remind me?
Prahlad.
Prahlad.
Mrityunjay.
No, Prahlad, not Prahlad.
Dhruva.
We are talking Dhruv, yeah.
Yeah, Dhruva.
That's why we call Dhruv Tara.
Yeah.
The fixed star, we always, the entire constellation, today we take reference as Dhruv Tara, which is a fixed star, right? Dhruv. Why Dhruv? Because Dhruv was not given the right to sit on his father's lap because he was a child, and he said, okay, you have to have the right. His foster mother said, you have to have the right to sit on your father's lap. Okay, who can give me the right? He said, go to the forest and find out. So he goes to the forest, and then Narada comes. Everybody tries to. He's a very, very, very young boy, and he sits there. He says, how can I? Narada comes to him and says, boy, you're very young. You look like you're from a palatial place, and just land is very, very dangerous. You're in the deepest of the forest. He says, no, I have to realize my dream. Who will give me the right to sit on my father's lap? Remember, again, the significance of lap is very important here. Why? Is because the lap is more signifying the control or the authority that you get on a king's lap. Because Jyeshtha Nakshatra is connected to the Kalapurush Kundali, it is connected to your intestine and also your reproductive organs. Okay, the womb, and the reproductive organ of the male or the female, and the large intestine, that's where it's connected to, and also the area between the legs, the thighs. So somebody who has to sit on the lap, and you must have seen in many of the movies, showing your prowess is like thumping your hand on your thigh.
Yeah,
that's what you see Duryodhana doing that
like
in Mahabharata.
Also they do that. Yeah.
Even in the wrestling, you do this.
Yeah.
That's why you're saying, I do have the the limbs that I can fight you. Now come on, fight me. So that is the authority. So Narada then gives him the supreme mantra, which this boy sits and starts chanting. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's all. He says this is the mantra, and through which you will appease Vishnu. And only Vishnu has the right, he'll give you the blessings or the boon for you to sit on your father's lap. And this boy will sit there without, anything. That's his focus. His focus is very fixed. That's all he wanted. Everybody tries to come and do, because he stops, eating, he lives on leaves, then he goes on just, breathing and nothing. He stops his breath as well. That's how, his focus was so much. And he was another guy who really challenged Indra for his throne. Anybody who gives up all their, qualities of Indriyas, they become Indra. Anyway, I think I've been talking.
I had a question for you, Dr. Pai. How is the quality of Indra in Jyeshtha Nakshatra different from Vishaka? Because it is both of them ruled by Indra. Some of the mythology you explained are also very similar. So what is it that it separates with the Indra and Vishaka versus Indra and Jyeshtha?
See, the idea of Indra in Vishaka is more to do with what we call as in Sanskrit Devata Dvandvas. Devata Dvandvas means it's a dimorphic pair, or it is a balancing force in coattail. It's a balancing force. So there are so many types of Devata Dvandas. Okay, we only know about Indragni of Vishaka. There is Indra Vayu. There is Indra Varuna. There is Indra Brahaspati. There is Indra Vishnu. There are different coattails. Okay. Now, what do you see with Vishaka is half of his power is about giving you the ability to do all of these things that I said with Vishaka, but there the difference is it has got the Agni. Agni is about precision. Agni is about detailing. Agni is the first one to be always, honored. As the sun rises in the morning, all the devatas get their food or the oblations which are offered here by the devotees, and Agni is the distributor. So Agni is that intellect, okay, and he is the courage. So imagine that Vishaka is nothing but it is double whammy. It's like, in WWE, it's, a pair, which is, what do you call those? Tag team.
Yeah.
Tag team effort. So somebody needs intelligence to win over a battle, and somebody needs the brawn and the muscle. So you need the power, you need the agility, and you need the vigor, but you also need the intellect, which is buddhi, and the way to maneuver the things and things to manipulate. Because Indra is all about, he is intelligent, he is very, very intelligent, but his thing is brute force. Now imagine there is a problem in your computer. I have always seen whenever I take it to my IT department, if there is any problems with my computer from my office, the brute force mechanism is reboot. They don't want to look at what is the problem. They will look at it. If they don't find it in 5 minutes, they will reboot. They will say, let's restart. That is how Indra does. just wants to go back to the reset mode, set things to the factory settings. Let's go and reboot. Not every time you can't reboot. So that's where the Agni element comes in. Agni will say, let me do the, the firefighting. Let me analyze this thing. Let me see, even if it takes me some time, that's okay. But Indra is always about reboot. If your thing is frozen and you see a blue screen, reboot. That's how life is. So Indra's is always brute force, and Agni brings in that dimension of balancing the forces.
Okay, great. So Eve, would love to have your viewpoint on Jyeshtha.
Okay. Hold on 1 minute. Hi guys. Thank you, Dr. Paji. That was beautiful. I think he covered he's covered so many valid points. If a person is able to understand the cryptic nature of these stories, then you can decipher a lot in horoscope reading, especially from a psychological angle. So let me share with you guys. I do have a presentation. It's really simple, but let me figure out how to do this.
Don't reboot your computer though.
Thank you. Yeah, I might. I don't know what to do. I'm really bad with this stuff. So.
I'm hearing sound of firecrackers. New Year's Eve. Eve, you started talking, and
I know. New Year's Eve is happening.
Yeah, I don't know if it's here or is it where you are.
No, where I am here. There.
Well, how do I make this? I put play or something? Yeah. Okay. I don't know what you guys can see and what you can't see.
Yeah, we can see everything.
I don't know. Just bear with me because I don't know where my mouse went.
Yeah, we can see your screen. You can press C to see a mouse. Yeah.
See? Okay.
Yeah.
See. Okay. Thank you. So I think Dr. Pai really covered really valid points, and I just always do this. It's just my nature, but before I start talking, Om Aim Saraswati Namaha. Okay, so the hero, the authority, the eldest, and the word is literally, translated as the eldest quite often. Fierce protector, security, which Dr. Pai mentioned. A worshiper of force, hand of influence. You'll see this nakshatra involved in is psychological warfare quite a bit. So, bestower of discord. This is one interesting thing, is that we have an Alakshmi element coming into this nakshatra. Okay, so when you think about Indra and his various tests and trials and battles, there is another side of that is the absolute misfortune of the fall. That comes from pride or arrogance, I'm not saying to have false humility. That's also garbage. And that's actually arrogance. False humility is arrogance. It's not real. But I'm talking about when we are the hero, sometimes we're blinded by the golden sheen of the hero's identity. And if you look at like Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata, there was no need to be the shining hero in the battlefield. He actually wanted to solve the problem, even if he got humiliated for it, right? He's the one that instigated it, strike Duryodhana in the thigh. It's no shame because he was protecting Dharma. So even if he ended up looking like the coward, he didn't care. So this nakshatra is where the might and force comes together with the mind as well, the identity of the mind. And there's a lot of testing. There's a chemical reaction that happens in this nakshatra that's like no other because of the force that is possessed in it. So it's all about maturity. It's about the powers that come to us, the authority that comes to us. And the gaining of maturity by failure of those responsibilities, many times by the failure of those responsibilities. Even if we achieve those responsibilities, there's always going to be that one that is the Achilles heel, so to speak. So this is the sign of the hero, but it's also a sign of Alakshmi. And it definitely has this dance that it does. It definitely has this success-failure element of Indra. If you read any of his stories, there's all these lessons that he learns through his heroic nature. So I hope people can actually read this, because I'm not going to just read it out to you here. But the maturing process of Jyeshtha is often it's an uncomfortable refinement. It requires sacrifice of peace of mind, often. Sacrifice of even the moral code or the ethics, like the going against the rebellion, against what we grew up believing. Beliefs kind of dissolve here. Indra wins things by his brute strength, like Dr. Pai was saying. So there's this need to overcome any kind of boundaries that is put on the person. Okay, now how do I? Okay. So when you look at Lakshmi and Alakshmi, okay, I gotta move these things around because I can't see. So you see with Lakshmi the qualities of dependence and devotion. Throughout the stories, there's a dependence on Lord Vishnu and devotion, because Lakshmi is literally the opposite of that. And there's even stories in some Purans of Shani being the proper match for Jyeshtha, the goddess Jyeshtha. Okay, so that's something that people can research if they're interested. So Lakshmi is really just self-reliance and rebellion. And that's a really tough path that requires strength. So it's not this misfortunate thing. Now, for any of you who've read the Brihadara Shastra and you read about Jyeshtha, you're going to panic, because immediately it says to do all of these remedies if you're born under that star. Like as if it's so inauspicious. But really, it's just non-compliance. That's how Indra gets his throne. He doesn't comply, and he's got magical power. Magical power is a huge thing here. He does tapas to get his throne. Any yogi who gains mystical power, he throws them off the road by numerous temptations or fears or whatever it is that he can do to mess with their minds. In the stories, like if they're performing something where they could take his seat, he uses these forces at his fingertips to throw that person off. And it's not always delicious desire. Sometimes it's horrific fear. So this is a master of psychological warfare. This nakshatra is a master of it, because Indra himself is that. So it's the non-compliance that got him. In the Rig Vedic story, he goes against Varuna. He politically does it. So really he's slaying a dragon, but yeah, he politically does it. So this is a very interesting nakshatra where the churning of a person's, the self-definition is happening in a different way. It's not necessarily the most moral nakshatra, and there's a reason for that. So when you do something, and I just wanted to show you guys one thing. So in the Garuda Puran, it talks about the worship of, when worship is done under Jyeshtha Nakshatra, you gain the gift of dominance. And what does that communicate to you? Think about it. The gift of dominance. And I was contemplating that a lot, because that's the control, that's the force, that's the, to dominate it's a very forceful thing, right? So I wanted to just briefly note here that the master of occult sciences, Shukracharya, and the Daitya Guru, the Guru of the Daityas, was said to be born under Jyeshtha Nakshatra. And if you notice his political strategy, if you notice, Jupiter has his own, Brihaspati has his own, and then Shukracharya has his own to raise the dead, to create, he's all of these, he's a master at occult sciences. But I have a little bit of, from Jataka Bharanam, but I have this question of morality here that comes in through Jyeshtha. Most people, I don't know if they know that Shukracharya takes Chandra's side when he elopes with Tara. Brahaspati's wife. He takes Chandra's side, you know, so this is this questioning of just blind morality. Like, what is the actual truth of the situation? Just because societal rules are in place, does it make it true? And there is a challenge of that in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. So I just wanted to point that one out. And then I wanted to show you guys just a few people. Now, for anyone, once again, I do not like doing celebrities charts publicly. That's just me. They still have living family members. There's, for me, it's a matter of deep respect for those family members. And just a reminder not to just pop off about someone's personal life, not realizing that family members can be affected even by a little video like this, you know.
This is why I stopped doing celebrity horoscopes, for the same reason.
That's really respectful of you, Kapiel, because there's enough out there, just garbage, just junk. People always have to say something about someone, you know, and we don't realize the power of our words, right?
Yep.
So that's, yeah. So just, I'm using these people that have mostly passed, but they still do have, you know, of course, family. If you notice, there's themes that go along with Jyeshtha many of the time: attainment of status, authority, public life can become home. Sometimes a disturbed private life. Now, I know it says it here, but guys, don't take that as if, you know, this is some curse of this nakshatra. You'll see plenty of Jyeshtha mixed with other nakshatras and other things in the horoscope that can give a happy life, so a happy home life. So you can't just isolate this one thing. It's a whole orchestra. You have to look at everything. But I'm just highlighting some points. Indra is also Zeus in Greek mythology, and there's not a lot of peace in home, partly because of his habits. Right? And his insatiable appetites, and his need to conquer anyone who starts becoming as strong as him. He can't bear it. So there's this lack of peace of mind that happens from this nature. Sometimes like a competitive sometimes, but not in the obvious way, more in a psychological way. Dealings with the mob and secret government, you will see a theme. Extreme indulgence leading to dissatisfaction and restlessness that can even result in renunciation. It can even result in renunciation because the person can just be at the pinnacle of experience and have so much authority, and then by the end they're just like, what did any of this mean? It's empty. So you will see those people that just fulfill every single desire and then get to the point where they're disgusted. They're done. They don't want anything else to do with it. And a lot of our American heroes in the art field have prominent Jyeshtha. It is one of the most prominent. Like if someone's going to win multiple awards, if someone's going to, be a king, sit on a throne of their field, you will see Jyeshtha quite often. And these are 3 examples: Marlon Brando, Elvis Presley, and Frank Sinatra. All you've got to do is look at their lives, and you'll see all of these themes. Now, another one, So I talked a little bit about security. Martial arts is another thing, protection, watchfulness, wrathfulness. The art of war, I know it gets associated with Purvashara a lot, which is also correct. But this is a psychological art of war. If you can psychologically beat your opponent, you've won. If you can outsmart them, and that's a lot of Indra's power, is to psychologically scare these yogis, or tempt them, or he doesn't come and beat them up. He knows their fear, he knows their desire. So this is the whole thing. It's a literally psychological warfare. Security of reputation and position too. It's another thing. Alfred Hitchcock, another very prominent Jyeshtha, okay? And what did he play on? Psychological things, power of fear. And look at this Lakshmi, creation here, like the crows and the, phobias, obsessive compulsive disorder, neurosis, idiosyncratic behaviors, anxiety, worry, insomnia, shock, terror. All these things go along with the opposite of Lakshmi, right? The opposite of protected, innocent devotion, that which is dependent upon Vishnu. That one that goes out and starts the trail on their own has to face all of these fears and face all of these trials and tribulations. So it's really a sign of raw strength, because without losing the dependency, without overcoming the blind faith and challenging oneself in the darkest night of the soul, in the black fear, in the raw primal desire, without challenging and refining oneself in that, there's no strength. There'll never be any strength. So please don't take this as negative. This is actually something that is, it's something that we all must pass through. You'll see another prominent Jyeshtha here. Her name slipping my mind. God, she's a famous artist. I should have written her name down. Not very prominent Jyeshtha. She's still living, so I don't want to talk about her life. But hidden energies. A lot of her things are psychologically provoking. A lot of her artwork is psychologically provoking. It's not trying to win you into wholesome goodness. It's not trying to give you a feeling of stability. It's trying to actually communicate a feeling of shaking your foundation or shaking your stability or challenging your belief systems. So there's this seductive quality with this nakshatra, especially with women, that can be almost, it is the archetypal dark goddess which gets vilified. And I don't think that that's fair. It's like Lilith in the Hebrew traditions, who just because she wants to be independent, she gets vilified. But she ends up being the holder of gyan, the holder of knowledge. So our society has really blotted out this role, and it's a very important role because it's independence. And we all need it. Even to be Lakshmi, you need to choose, you need in some way that. So another thing you will see if you read enough charts, and this is kind of a silly thing, but you'll see people heavily involved in ritual magic. And the sacrifice of piety, the reversal of purity, once again, an egoism that will result in humility. But all of these people, there's Jyeshtha, like psychological warfare, these things have come into their lives in some way. And this gentleman actually wrote a show on the devil, and he was a black magic practitioner for many years. And if you hear the reasoning behind it, it's not what people think. I'm not advocating this path. What I'm saying is that I'm also not judging it. And I'm also having a broad enough mind to recognize that at some point, we have to overcome the preconceived notions of society, overcome certain things with morality, and at some point, good and bad have to be transcended. And Jyeshtha Nakshatra really puts a person in that place. But it can be a very intense place to be because this is where you get challenged. This is where your strength gets challenged, where your appetites get challenged, where they get, possibly out of control even. But it's a great place of refinement. So that's all I have to share, guys.
Thank you.
Simple.
Great. Sandeep.
Can I add something there?
Yeah.
Some excellent points. I was making some notes when Evji was speaking. I think it was fantastic. She pointed out some of the points that she was talking about. These hidden energies, this occult power, this manipulation of the secret forces. See, what I've always seen with Jyeshtha in general is Jyeshtha is concerned about crossing the borders. Now, what are those borders that I am talking about? Is you would see that they could be crossing between human and spirit world and back. Or that is what they are prone to, these occult experiences, esoteric experiences. Because what happens is when the ego of a Jyeshtha cannot be toned down, that's what the world of Alakshmi and Lakshmi is. Who is Alakshmi that, Evji pointed about? Alakshmi, she is the Jyeshtha because she came during the churning of the cosmic ocean. She came first. So she is the elder sister of Lakshmi. Okay, Lakshmi came next. So she's Alakshmi. Now, Alakshmi was married to, as per many scriptures, Mrityu, the god of death, the lord of death. And Lakshmi was married to Vishnu, right? So there is an intense desire for Jyeshtha to transcend between these two areas, because one is Vishnu's world, because Lakshmi, you see, she's always at the feet of her master. She's always there at the feet. And that's where you see in astrologically also, Venus gets exalted in the 12th house of the Kalapurush, which is Pisces, at the feet of the Kalapurush, which is Vishnu. So that's where she gets exalted. She feels happy at the feet of her husband. But Alakshmi is what? She wants to be with Mrityu, the god of death and destruction and dissolution, right? Now, Jyeshtha is always looking to go around these borders, because if they can't tone down their ego and their aspirations, they have the ability to allow the Almighty to work through them. But they don't have the patience. So, but in that case, what might happen is they might make attempts to rein in the power using tantra or black magic or occult powers or hidden energies, because they want to benefit very quickly. So you would see Jyeshtha, if they can't control their feelings and have jealousy or revenge, they have to let go. That's the main lesson. If they don't let go, this this temptation of controlling others, I know it all, they have to let go, because otherwise they will become victims of themselves. The best protection they can do is, usually I've seen Jyeshtha people will always come and complain about saying, I think I have a evil eye on me. I think somebody is doing some black magic on me. Somebody is doing tantra on me. They're always, overwhelmed with this sort of thing. Even though there might be nothing, because, if they see there is a person who has a bigger aura than them, they feel intimidated. That affects them. And because of which they feel, comparatively, they feel, oh, I think I'm not able to achieve whatever I want to. And, the world is devising methods to put me down. It's a psychological thing. That's why I think very great points Evji has made about, this questioning of the moral code, the phobias, the power of fear, obsessive compulsive, all of these things will come completely. And that's where you can see many Jyesthas are obsessed with talismans or protective amulets, black eye. I have seen Jyeshtha people will have a lot of things hanging around in their houses. They'll say, what is this? Oh, this is a dream catcher. What is this? This is evil eye. What is this? This somebody, a Buddhist monk gave me, to ward off evil. Circular amulets, ear, whatever. They will go on accumulating things that will feel them, give them the power. Actually, They don't have all of this.
I have one question, Dr. Pai. You said Lakshmi was married to Mrityu. Is that something referring to Yama, or is that different?
No, it's different. It's not Yama.
It's like it's like the one that actually kills. The one that
Okay.
I've heard that too, Dr. Paiji. That's a very interesting point, because I've seen Shani and Mrityu. I've seen both of those. And then sometimes it's a very interesting point that you're bringing forward, because this is a seat of power. This nakshatra is a seat of power, and it really is power itself is not evil. It's not corrupted. It's the mind that wields it, that gives it its flavor. So we shouldn't vilify the seat itself. It's all the temptations that come in at that. And that's why the old translation of Jyeshtha literally translates to a spot of blood, like Indra's crushed his enemies and there's just a trail of blood. That's actually the way it translates, is like there's just a crushed person on the ground, like he just crushed them, there's blood. So it is this ability to completely stomp.
I'm going to talk more on that. Blood crush.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Because that's what it translates to, Adityaji. Exactly that. Yeah.
If I had one more question, just like Dr. Pai gave a difference between the Vishaka Indra and Jyeshtha Indra, do you have anything other than anything else to add to the difference of Vishaka Indra versus Jyeshtha Indra, besides what Dr. Pai already explained?
I said it beautifully.
Okay.
Indragni could also be lightning, because it's just a power of Indra. It's like the fire of Indra, like the lightning bolt. It could that could be. Another thing is that that it is a very, I love what he said, because it is a dualistic nakshatra because of the meeting of two energies. So there is a great divide there, and a lot of the stories associated with Vishaka, they're more divided than Jyeshtha. Jyeshtha is a very one-pointed focus for success. Vishaka is, there's more room for great confusion in a certain way. There's more room for a different, when a Vishaka person focuses their energy, though, they have great power. Great power. It's when they feel divided that they get crippled. And that's the thing with that nakshatra. But it very well could be just referring to a very simple thing, which is the power of Indra, which is the fire of the sky, right?
Yeah.
It could just be referring to the lightning bolt, just like the Sudarshana chakra of Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
Right, like a weapon. It could be referring to a weapon, actually. Yeah.
Another thing, like EG mentioned, Kapil, beautiful thing I'll tell you about what is the difference between Jyeshtha and what is the difference between Vishaka. For example, if you really took the astrological thing, 3 padas of Vishaka will fall into Libra. So there is a control of Venus and Jupiter energy there with Vishaka, right? But when you come to Jyeshtha, it is the energy of Mercury and Mars, because Mars is it's in Scorpio, and Mercury. Now, one of the most important things when you come to India, you will see, is people use, for evil eye, they use lemon and green chilies.
Yes. Every business shop has that thing hanging on the top. Yeah.
You'll see.
Dr. Paiji, I just want to say something quickly because you mentioned the evil eye thing. I know quite a few people that have Jyeshtha where their friends or their partner have hung the evil eye over their, their room. I actually, now that you say that, I've seen that quite often. So even if they themselves don't do it, it's like
somebody
in their life will give it to them, or friends
will give it to them, because if you see, Mercury gets exalted in the 11th house from Jyeshtha, so that's why friends will usually come and give you. They say, okay, I think you need to have this. So lemon and green chilies, that's very much practiced in India, not only on shops but on vehicles. You see everywhere lemon and green chilies. That's largely a manifestation, I feel, of Mercury and Mars. Because let us not forget what is Mars, and this is the best thing for anybody who wants to master the energy of Jyeshtha in Kali Yuga. There is no parallel to understanding Hanuman. Because Hanuman is as powerful as Indra. He has got all the qualities of Indra, but he's celibate. But there is why I say this is people have to really understand even Hanuman Chalisa, for example. Hanuman Chalisa is the 40, chaupis. They're called 40, Chalisa, 40, and there are 3 other verses. So 43, number 43 is very, very, important mystically as well. Even in Lal Kitab, always is 43 days remedies. So, there are 2 dohas in the first and 1 doha. Okay, the thing I wanted to say is, there is a verse called Hatha Vajra or Dwaja Viraje Kande Munja Janehu Saje. Okay, Kanchana Barana Viraja Subesa, Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesa. Now let me explain. This is in Avadi. Okay, Hatha Vajra. Vajra is like Indra's Vajra. See, Hanuman is holding in one hand the lightning bolt of his mace, and in the other hand he is holding the banner of this, of success. Dwaja Biraje, Hatha Vajra or Dwaja Biraje. Kande Munjaja Nehu Saji. It's a sacred thread he's wearing, which is made of a plant called munj. Kande Munja Janehu Saji. For many of the Brahmins, like I also wear a munj. This is called the munj, the sacred thread. This is our protective amulet, because we chant the Gayatri mantra holding the munj. So this is like a protective amulet. It's a circular amulet for us. Okay, then Kanchana Varana Viraj Subesa. Okay, he has a golden physical body, just like Indra. Indra is golden in color, and he's dripping with soma, and his dress is very pretty. Kanana Kundala. Kundala means is the earring. Earring is again connected to Jyeshtha Nakshatra. Munj is the secret thread, is again connected to, it's a protective amulet. You know, when I was very young, my grandfather used to tell me, you know, I used to feel afraid whenever, you know, you go in the dark or something. I say there might be some ghost there.
Yeah.
He used to say, hold your, you know, sacred thread, chant the Gayatri mantra and go. They will run away from you because that's your protective amulet. And that was it. I was just chanting Gayatri mantra, you know, when I was young. I used to go into another room because I was fearful of darkness. What was there, you know, the ghost. So this is what it is. It's about getting rid of those fears. You know, many people, I ask them, you know, I'm going home. So what do you want? They say, get me a protective amulet from the temple that you go to. They're obsessed wearing, you know, these protective amulets all the time. The dhaga, remember, they go to temples.
Dr. Paiji, do you think in some way, I just want to ask, or any of you who, do you think Kavach mantras would be related?
Absolutely. You know, the most
Yeah,
beautiful
definitely. Yes.
for this is Narayan Kavach. Narayan Kavach is given by 3 Saras to Indra. Narayan Kavach is the most powerful Kavach that will operate for Jyeshtha Nakshatra. You can listen to Narayan Kavach. Very powerful.
What is getting rid of fears? What house in the horoscope
What?
chart you say?
It's the 8th house, right? 8th house is the fears house. That's what you're talking about.
Getting
Eighth
rid
house.
of fears.
Sandip,
Yeah.
take us a point, because I actually, I would say a relationship between the 6th and 8th.
It's
Yes.
very interesting, 6th and 8th, because Virgo sign, you know, Virgo sign is what Hasta, Hasta is what Gayatri mantra.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
you said, yeah, Munj and all.
Yeah.
So that's what, somewhere that concept is there. And I have got also some few points on Savitri Satyava. There's some connection, even in star connection, which I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
About Virgo and Jyeshtha.
Perfect.
Mercury-
Before,
yeah.
go ahead, Dr. Pai.
I was just saying, you know, it's just the connection with Hasta because of the Gayatri, and also with the connection with Mercury being exalted.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
Mercury,
yeah.
you know, the Vimshatri Dasha, Jyeshtha Nakshatra.
Other 2 examples related to that. So there is something I'm getting all, like many incidents connected with that.
Well, like the Viparit Raj Yogas,
Yeah.
the strongest ones, you need an involvement of the 6th house. The 6th house is very important for that. 6th and 8th, and 12th, of course, too, but the 6th and 8th.
And 12th is interesting because Hanuman, if you say Mula is in 1st house, the 12th house from Mula will be Jyeshtha. We know, and Indra defeated Hanuman, like no, not defeated, but he, you know, he gave
Yeah,
a
struck the thunderbolt, right? Yeah, on his Hanuman's face. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Pai, just quickly before we moved on, you know, the chili thing that you were saying, lemon and chili, does that work, or is this more of like a cultural thing? Does that actually work? Have you heard of any stories on those things?
Yes, absolutely. One of the best remedies I've seen for evil eye, if you can't hang it, the best remedies I've seen is to divide a lemon into 2 halves and throw the lemon, you know, after rotating over your head 8 times, they say 8 times, and then cut that into 2 halves and then throw them in 180 degrees, which means if you're throwing towards the east, throw the other lemon towards the west as far as possible. So that is going to take the energy out, which means it's dividing and throwing them in 2 different directions.
Okay.
So lemon and they definitely work. I know for a reason they definitely. And what they do is usually what they do the next day, they throw it on the road. They don't just throw it in the bin. And somebody who stamps on it, they say they get the negative energy. So you should, the evil eye. So you should be very careful when you're walking in India on the streets, you know, where the shopkeepers will just throw them on the streets. You will see lemon and green chilies lying on the streets. They should
okay.
You should never stamp on them. So, you know, that's the thing. That's what we have learned about, you know, from this childhood. You know, whenever we used to walk on the street, they would say, careful, lemon and chili there. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
Actually,
if I go to India, I want to throw a bunch of lemon and chili and just watch people go back.
You can make lemon juice, man. Come on.
I know. So, I guess Sandeep is the next in queue. Sandeep.
Well, actually, let Aditya go, please.
Okay,
I think
Aditya.
he already has a.
Yogita.
No, go. I'm
No,
fine.
Togi, you go.
Okay, there was something regarding. Okay, let me talk about.
Yeah.
Talk about it. I think we should talk
So
about
who is
it.
going to? I am going to interview you, Kapil. Now I am professor. You cannot interview me now.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
I am going to ask several questions now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, ready for the interview session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can you see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Jyeshtha is the chief of the elder star. So I thought long time back, we all know that this video is much delayed. I
Yeah.
made this presentation and you can see the dates which I had on 22nd and 23rd July was a time when we were decided to make this video. And I was trying to make this video. It got delayed till now. Why?
It's like 6 months away. Yeah, 6
Why?
months, right? Jupiter in Jyeshtha.
Don't say, man. I'm the Jupiter.
Yeah, ask the student. Yeah, sorry, ask the student. The student should answer.
What other things you may think? Kapil ji.
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have asked several questions to others. Now it's karma coming back.
So you're asking why it was delayed.
Yeah. And of course, one point was Jupiter now came in Jyeshtha. So now the nature is saying now is the time to talk about the knowledge of Jyeshtha star.
Yeah.
That was one thing. And again, another interesting thing of today's date, as Dr. Pai also said, 2018, we are exactly the junction of 2018 to 2019. 18th nakshatra to 19th nakshatra.
Also Gandanta.
Also Gandanta, exactly the Gandanta time. I think it's close to midnight.
Yeah, actually, Mercury is in Gandanta literally right now. Mercury is literally Gandanta.
Mercury is in Jyeshtha Gandanta too.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. So I think, as Saeebji always says, there's nothing wrong. There's always a reason for things happen on its own time. I think we saw the testimony of that fact, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's my excuse for always being late.
Okay.
I'll take it.
And then I was thinking, because it was another important thing, transformation which we saw, the Kapiel Raaj came in the video.
Yeah.
Jyeshtha is what? 8th house, transformation.
And Raj.
And Raj, Indra. Okay, again. And then he was trying to change the order of speakers because always me and then Sandeep will talk. And he was putting Sandeep first. I was thinking he's doing some transformation. Again, 8th house. That didn't happen. But you say why it was. So that's why I was keeping quiet. I said, I'm not going to say anything. Let him see what happens. But the order came.
That's very good observation. Very good observation.
So these are the things to observe. And now our video got delayed. Is there a delay concept in Jyeshtha now? There is something to check. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely because Lakshmi was married to Saturn as per some things, right? So there's definitely some delay.
Yeah, if we go back to our course, you guys can find all the notes, which is basically, there's a couple Purans which say that Jyeshtha, the goddess Jyeshtha, who is Lakshmi, was paired with Shani Dev. After his sadhana, after his
delay.
Yeah, so.
Oh.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I have seen, Togi, since you said about this delay thing. In many of the readings that I've done, people only found success with Jyeshtha Nakshatra in their mid-30s to after 36. After 36, when Saturn matured, only then the success came in their life.
Definitely connection. Yeah, and if you think about the eldest sibling too, which we haven't spoken, like, the eldest, often everything falls on their shoulders in old culture, right? But it's like the burden is there for life. So, it says Shani, there's a responsibility factor tied in with Shani, right?
So, that is so this is what always Sandeep says, observe. See, I'm observing Sandeep, see? I'm a good student of yours.
Yeah, great observations. Yeah.
So this was just I made. Okay, anyway, now coming to astronomy, because I'm an astronomy teacher, so I should talk about something about astronomy. And then this is what your Scorpio constellation looks. This is your arms, and this is where the principal star of Jyeshtha, which is nothing but called as Antares, is situated. Just here. This is the Scorpio's tail, or you can say. In fact, I should say that I was for 10 days, I was at some place at Kaufman in Texas for Vipassana and all. I was doing that for 10 days. We saw so many scorpions. I literally saw so many scorpions there. And it's nice baby scorpions coming with the tail. So this is a tail where, this is all Mula part. This is the Jyeshtha part. So Jyeshtha is located at the heart of the Scorpio. Okay. I just want to show what is the constellation looks like and where is the star of Jyeshtha. It's a very bright red star. You can see in the sky if you can locate Scorpio. This I will going to talk about next time when we do Mula. I don't know, we will be doing Mula next time, where the galactic center is a Sagittarius 3 degree of Mula. But note, Mula comes in the tail region of Scorpio. So when you talk about Mula Nakshatra, though we put it in Sagittarius, I think I will talk about again in the next part. It is still a part of the Scorpio constellation. Remember that. But people think, oh, Mula is Sagittarius. No, it's not Sagittarius. It's a part of Scorpio thing. In astronomy, at least. Okay, anyway, talking about the deity, people mentioned here about Jyeshtha, comes from the word Jyeshtha. Jyeshtha means, of course, meaning eldest. Eldest of the gods is who? Indra, Indradev, which is the king of the gods. So, of course, Indra makes sense to be why that Nakshatra Devata should be Indra. Jyeshtha comes from the word Jyesht. Jyesht means eldest. See, same thing happened when it went to Malayalam language. What do you call elder? Cheta, correct?
Yes, yes.
Cheta,
yes.
Cheta also comes from, because I was many years back, I was learning Bengali at that time, and he was interested in learning about how the change in language happens. So when the language went from Sanskrit to Kerala, Malayalam, the Jyeshtha word became Cheta. Cheta means elder brother, or we call elder brother as Cheta. So you can see Cheta, Jyeshtha, it's all very similar. And what is called Jyeshtha in Malayalam?
Triketa.
Correct? Triketa.
Yep.
So again, Keta, Jyeshtha, Cheta, you
Yes.
see that the tone of the sound is very well almost similar. So
Yes.
so it all comes from the Upper British language of the Sanskrit.
Isn't it Kettai in Tamil? Kettai.
Keta is
Ketai,
in Tamil,
Ket-
correct? Yeah.
Yes. Ketai.
Keta, yeah.
It's funny you're showing this very similar image of elephant that Eve showed as well, and then you're talking about, and here's my elephant in the back.
Yeah.
That's my right. See, you've got Indra here with you.
And there is
Yeah,
another
very
thing which
interesting.
I saw. Jyeshtha, red star. I think Dr. Pai is wearing a red t-shirt. I am wearing somewhere red color is prominent. I think Eve G is in red somewhere. What did you get from
And
red?
look at that. My glasses.
Glasses red.
Red.
I don't know. We can't hear you, Eve G.
We can't hear you, Evji.
My
You are on
face.
mute.
My face is red.
Oh, red. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Oh, that
Very
is
interesting. Sorry to interrupt, but it is very interesting to see which is the Mula Trikona, or the head office of Mars from Jyeshtha.
It's Ashwini, right? 6th house.
6,000.
6th house. Okay. And where does it get exalted?
Capricorn in Dhanishta, 3rd house.
In the 3rd house. So if your enemy, 6th house is all about your shut repose, your enemies, your sixth senses, or all those control, can be done by showing courage. In the 3rd house. 3rd house is courage, So that's, you can see so many things with with Jyeshtha. Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted
No,
to
that's
make
fine.
that-
No, please do. Please do. And that's why red color again. You see
Yeah,
red
red color.
Guys, look behind me, actually.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Shukracharya.
Yes.
Who's
Oh, okay.
And you said Shukracharya's birth nakshatra is Jyeshtha, correct?
Yeah, so that's actually, and you can see another one over here. I don't know, but it's also got a red background. It is far back there.
Hey, what happened? Who is that red color glass?
He's wearing a red beer mug. Beer cup. What do you call it? Beer glass.
I got Soma and the beer, both. I'm like going, okay,
Yeah.
this is like entertainment.
So probably, modern day Jyeshtha people will be having a red beer cup every
Yes.
weekend. Every Friday night they'll be having some.
So did you get purposely a red color because we are doing Jyeshtha or what?
No, I've been drinking from this. Jamie got this like 3-4 days ago from Costco. And
Yeah,
just been
that's like the standard party cups. So yeah, you can see Jyeshtha energies playing out every Friday night. So
Those are New Year cups.
New Year cups. That's right. Yeah, how it is interesting to see I'm exactly seeing how the
look at the ear of the elephant too.
And let's not forget the
Right.
color of
Yes.
Exactly.
color of Indra, even in the picture that he's showing.
Right.
Actually red, yeah.
It's also red. Yeah. And when I'm going to talk, now Jyeshtha is exactly at my, what you say, Nadir position, at the exactly opposite of Zenith point for me. So I don't know what was that. And then we also, the Jyeshtha is red silk cotton tree is considered as the tree nakshatra for Jyeshtha. Again, the color red. Red is very analogous to the star Antares. So that's what I wanted to point out here. And it's so interesting to why this tree was selected for the Jyeshtha nakshatra, because of its red color again, maybe. So the nakshatra tree for Jyeshtha is red silk cotton tree. Now,
And let's not forget, he is called the Rohini of the southern hemisphere.
yeah, that I am going to talk about Rohini of the, yeah.
Rohini means the red, the reddish leaf, right?
Maybe let me see if I have. I can now. You have mentioned that. I think it is coming later. I have that when I'm going to talk about it. Okay, then this is what Dr. Pai also mentioned in short. I don't know, Dr. Pai, I guess, mentioned. I don't know, EFG or Dr. Pai. Let's talk about Jyeshtha. Every nakshatra has got 4 padas, we know. What is a nakshatra? First, what is the sign where the Jyeshtha comes? It is a Scorpio sign, correct? Who is the Lord? Kapilji.
Yes.
Scorpio.
Mars and Ketu.
Mars and Ketu, correct. Who is the nakshatra Lord for Jyeshtha?
Mercury.
Mercury. So this is Rashi Lord. All the 4 padas fall into the Scorpio. So definitely I written here Rashi Lord, Nakshatra Lord, and Navamsha Lord. And there are 4 Navamshas. And which all Navamshas comes in Jyeshtha?
It works Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces.
Correct. Yes. So what is the Lord? Sagittarius Lord is Jupiter. Lord is also Jupiter, and Capricorn, Aquarius is Saturn. So if you take first pada, what planets you get? The Rashi Lord, because it's Scorpio, so it's Mars. Nakshatra Lord is Mercury. Navamsha Lord is Jupiter. If you take second pada, Rashi Lord is again Scorpio. Rashi Lord will not change, and Nakshatra Lord won't change. Only the Navamsha Lord will change. The second pada is ruled by Saturn because it's a Capricorn Navamsha. So and so forth. Third pada is Aquarius Navamsha, so it's again ruled by Saturn. Fourth pada is Pisces Navamsha, it's ruled by Jupiter. So what planets, dominant planets you see in this Jyeshtha nakshatra? You have Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter, Saturn. These are the main planets. What is Mars? Mars is logic. Mars is technology. Mercury is what? Mathematics, reasoning, again logic and all those things. So you see a lot of scientific people. I've seen scientists and all. Don't forget who was when I say scientist, what comes in the mind? Which scientist comes in your mind?
Togi Aditya.
No, I'm not.
Einstein.
Einstein has got something in Jyeshtha.
Yes, he does. Yes. Another legacy left behind.
Yes.
A lot of Jyeshthas leave legacies behind. Yes. He's
When I talk about personalities, I will talk about Einstein. So a lot of people I've seen in Jyeshtha, with a lot of people in scientific, engineering background, all those. Engineering maybe because of Saturn, Mars, coming second and third pada can be there because Saturn is also engineering. Saturn, Mars is engineering. So these are the qualities of Jyeshtha: aggressive, dynamic, courageous is the qualities of Mars. Of course, Indra, we know the story of Indra fighting and all those. So it's all the Martian qualities. Mercury is logic, reasoning, analytics. So you can see the qualities of Jyeshtha, how these people are very aggressive, dynamic, courageous with logic, reasoning, analytics. So it's not. So Jyeshtha people, you have to be really, people talk about, I've heard so many people telling negativities, but it's really very positive nakshatra, I feel. All nakshatras are positive, nothing is bad or good. But a lot of logic, Mars and Mercury energies will be there. And Saturn and Jupiter also not less, they are all heavy planets here. Well, talking some about the nakshatra characteristics, foundation above is to attack, foundation below. I just want to say, because just to completion purpose, foundation below of this nakshatra to defend, to gain supremacy among the gods. Shakti is Arohana Shakti. What is Arohana Shakti? Arohana Shakti is nothing but the power to rise above perils and to conquer the subconscious. Rise, overcome, conquer, gain, courage in battle. See, you can again see the qualities of Saturn, Mars here somewhere. Rise above perils. Perils is difficulty, Saturn. Okay. And result of Shakti basis. So one becomes hero. Basically, that's what Indra. Indra is nothing but the hero, the king of the gods. That's what Jyeshtha is. How you become eldest. after coming over all your perils, basically. So it gives you the energy to come above your difficulties. Now, symbol of this nakshatra is earrings and umbrella. Earrings, I think Dr. Pai Top mentioned about earrings. And umbrella is another symbol. Now, why umbrella? Now, umbrella, need not worry about these pictures. All are taken from Wikipedia, so no copyright issues. Now, why earring? I don't know why this earrings can be a symbol of Jyeshtha. But umbrella I can associate, because in India, if you see, not in India, this is also some picture of some foreign country. Umbrella, when any top official goes, they will have an umbrella.
Mhm.
So umbrella is a sign of importance, something like that. Like some Jyeshtha or some head of a village or head of a family is going, they will always carry that umbrella. So umbrella is a symbol of prestige, maybe. So that's why umbrella is associated. Earrings, I don't know. Again, earrings. Why?
I have a theory of the earrings too, because as you know, I love basketball. I played basketball, and so I was looking at a horoscope of majority of the basketball players that I loved.
Mhm.
If you notice, especially athletes in US, whether it's football players, basketball players, they will wear earrings in their ear.
No, I also wear earrings.
They
in my
have
ear.
Jyeshtha Nakshatra, and they automatically just love wearing earrings.
Oh my God.
They have
Even I have something in Jyeshtha. Don't ask me what planet.
Isn't it Michael Jordan?
Yes, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
Once again, another legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't realize. I'm not a good observer, Sandeep. I am wearing a earring. I never realized I have something in Jyeshtha too. Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely. I observe that. Go ahead, Dr. Pai. Yeah.
no, I was just wondering, what is the house for competition?
Sixth house.
House.
What is from Jyeshtha? Which is the sixth house?
Mars.
Aries.
Mars. And where is Mars exalted?
It's in Capricorn, in third house.
Third house is also, sometimes people say it's for the years as well.
Oh,
Yeah, that's interesting.
and Jyeshtha is in my, of course, third house too. So
So
makes sense.
you can see some correlation. If you want to be more successful for the kings in those times, Kundal was the most important. Kundal was the earring. They had a sacred earring as well. They will never remove the earring. Even when they're sleeping, they don't remove, because that is the protective amulet for them.
Even in,
That's because of the...
yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Pai.
Yeah. And also, if you remember in Mahabharata, okay?
Karna.
Yeah, Karna, his Kundal and his Kavach, which means Surya Kavach, which had the solar Kavach. That was the main thing. If, Indra, who went to get the thing? It was Indra as a Brahmin.
Yeah.
He went as a Brahmin because his son was Arjuna and he was fearful about his son losing in the battle. So he asked him, when he's doing the Surya, offering the Argya to his father, Surya, because he is a offspring of Surya. And let's not forget, Durvasa Rishi gave the mantra from Atharva Veda, the secret mantras of Atharva Veda, to invoke any deity and bear children to Kunti. Okay, so she was not sure. So when she was a young maiden, she chanted Surya mantra from Atharva Veda, and she got Karna. And Karna was born with the Kundal, which is the earring, and the protective amulet, which is the Surya Kavach. And then she had to let go of that child because she was unmarried. So everybody knows this thing. So earring definitely, I would say, has something very, very significant with Jyeshtha.
It's interesting. Indra came and asking Karna's Kundal.
Yes.
Psychological warfare.
Exactly, that's right.
Yes, master of
When you mentioned about psychological warfare, I could immediately connect to that mythological story.
Yeah, because he knows that Karna can't refuse at that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he's giving the Argya, to his father, or Argya in the morning, when he's giving the oblations to the sun, he can never refuse anything.
So psychological warfare is one point connected with Jyeshtha then.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. 100%. I would say I would also add on to a psychological warfare, people who make information as a weapon of war. like spies, literally, like getting
Information
one
again,
information.
Mercury's.
Yeah, Mercury, exactly.
Mercury is-
Like, people, and these are like, this is very important in like a modern day stock trader, business game. Information is literally like the weapon, it's like
Yes.
who's going to acquire what, that kind of thing, So that's a big thing here in Jyeshtha. To that, literally it's part of the psychological warfare. But yeah. that's
Even when
something.
you pierce here, there is something they call that some acupressure point actually.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
even with the year thing, even with the year, I'm thinking that there is something bigger going on. Literally, the earring should be like the protective coverage. I mean, that should be the case there. I'm thinking that perhaps we have lost the art of earrings. Maybe there is a reason was the ancient tribes were putting up long earrings or something, some special earrings or something like that. That's what I'm thinking also. Yeah.
Okay, there's another thing that I wanted to add. Again, I'm interrupting, but these are very interesting things which I get. What is the house where you feel your hidden potential is? The hidden potential, what comes to your mind? What is
6th house, 8th house,
12th house.
12th? I don't know.
12th house, correct?
Yeah.
Now, which is the Mula Trikona of Saturn?
Aquarius.
4th house from Jyeshtha,
Mm-hmm.
correct? 4th house is also what? 4th house is the house where you have a lot of potential. It's a potential energy which is there. And where does Saturn get exalted?
7th house. Oh, I mean in there, 12th house, yeah.
From
12th
Jyeshtha.
house.
Yeah.
So 12th house is the subconscious mind. So those manipulative tendencies come because you are insecure. Because what is, whenever you complete your karmas, which is 10,000 your highest karmas, the 7th from that is when you complete your karmas. If you're fearful about completing your karmas, then your subconscious mind needs to. That's where 4th house and 12th house connection is coming. It's something about psychological warfare as well. And 4th house is also the seat, remember. 4th house is called the gaddi, the seat, the throne that you sit in is called 4th house. Because why 4th house is connected to the womb of the mother? That is your seat of your creation. That's where you had been there for 9 months. So the exaltation is the psychological thing that can come. The same thing I've seen with, Jyeshtha people always are asking for mantras. They ask, give me a mantra, give me something. Why? Because you see, Jupiter is the second and the fifth lord of mantra recitation, so that gets exalted where? In the 9th house of your bhagya. So they're always looking for mantras to open up their bhagya. Because it's the second lord of mantra chanting. That's the Mula Trikona of Jupiter, 2nd house, and 5th house lord from, if you make this as the Lagna. Exalted in the 9th house of Dharma. So these are the people who are looking for mantras to elevate their Dharma or to elevate their, spiritual practices. Very important, because, Jyeshtha always are looking for some mantra or some secret, incantation that they can do to elevate their Dharma. Anyway, sorry.
No, good point. So Kapilji, are we time pressed or what are you planning to do?
No, we're good.
Because this is what going to happen for. We have started now. That fighting
started 2018 and then 2019. Okay.
I think this video will be longest. Started in 2018, maybe will end in
This will
2019.
be the longest video in history of YouTube.
Well, mute.
Evji, are you in a hurry? No, I don't know.
I leave very early. It's my mother's birthday tomorrow, so I have to leave
Okay.
the plane very early. So I probably can't do a 2 a.m. video.
Oh, no.
Just
We were good with that. Another 45 minutes.
45 minutes? Oh my God.
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna mute.
Okay, so these are other few themes of Purushartha is Artha, Gana is Rakshas. I'm just mentioning this because this is so important to know all those. And I will compare with something later, try to show you how the opposite qualities are. So just remember the Gana is Rakshas Gan for this nakshatra. The Trimurti is Shiva, Trimurti, animal is the male deer and the bird is the Brahmani duck. Now coming back to again astronomy. Now if you say even the star Antares is called as is the principal star of Jyeshtha. now the word Antares, now if you see the size of the Antares star itself, even in astronomy, it's a very huge star. So this is the size of Antares. And if you see the size of sun is this. Can you see this dot here?
Yeah.
That is what sun will look in when you compare that with Jyeshtha.
Wow.
And then this is Arcturus. This is a Swati star. So Swati is also much bigger than sun, but still nothing in compared to Antares star. It is said that when you place that Antares star in the position of our sun, the size is so huge that even the orbit of Mars will be inside the star. So it is so huge that even orbit of Mercury.
That's what you meant by orbit of Mars. So the circumference of its orbit will be there. Okay.
Yeah. If you place this star, Antares star, in the position of sun, so huge, you can imagine the vastness of this star.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this shows the picture of literally. So the name itself, Jyeshtha, elder star, the bigger star. You can see how it is correlating. These are some of the.
Is that the biggest star in the Yogatara scheme?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and then of course now this star, as Dr. Pai also mentioned, there's Devata Dvandva, and even this star has got a small companion star, which is Antares B. It is just not one star. There are two stars in this picture. So when we talk about Devata Dvandva, dimorphic pairs, even you can see dimorphic pair even in astronomy. And it was observed by a Scottish astronomer named James William Grant in India, and it was observed from India on 23rd July 1844. This companion star was observed. So it's interesting to. Even I didn't know. I was like, when I was reading in Wikipedia, I came to know. But then the concept of Devata Dvandva came into principle about the dimorphic pairs. So even in astronomy, these two stars are in pairs. There are not just one star. Now, this is what Dr. Pai was mentioning, Rohini of the South, correct? So, if you talk about Aldebaran is a Rohini Nakshatra that is exactly at Taurus 15 degree 56 minute. And Antares, which is Jyeshtha, is exactly at Scorpio 15 degree 55 minutes. So, you say how exactly, like, what is the opposite of Taurus constellation? Scorpio, correct? Because Taurus, if you add 6 signs, you land in Scorpio. Not only at the opposite sign, but at the exact opposite degrees. So that's why it is called Rohini of the South. Now, why South? Because Jyeshtha is on the southern side of the hemisphere, if you compare the celestial equator, and Rohini is in the northern part. So it's like very common between Antares and Jyeshtha, or Rohini or Jyeshtha. Very common. Position-wise also, they are exactly oppositely placed. And that's why, and both are very red stars. Like in magnitude, if you go and literally see, nowadays Rohini is clearly visible in the sky. You should go now and try to see Rohini. And I was thinking, it's literally look very red, bright. And exactly 6 months from now, you will see Scorpio the entire time in the night sky. It's almost the same red color, same magnitude. That's why it was called as Rohini of the South. So, and it's very much placed exactly opposite to this. Now, I don't know if some people have seen about my Yogatara videos, and I was just checking. I was looking at different Yogatara stars. And then there was another star which was exactly 90 degrees from Jyeshtha. Exactly, not this close, just 1 minute difference, but almost less than a degree. And that was which star? It was exactly 90 degrees before Jyeshtha. Not exactly 90 degrees. Sorry, it's exactly 60 degrees.
Yeah, no idea.
What is the nakshatra before 60 degrees of Jyeshtha?
Anuradha?
Before Jyeshtha. 60 degrees before Jyeshtha. Which nakshatra will come?
60 degrees is Hasta, right?
Hasta, Gayatri. Yeah. Dr. Pai was saying. And only this Taurus, Rohini is exactly opposite. And another star which was closely, like exact 60 degrees. I was looking which star is 60 degrees or which star is like 120 degrees. Each Rashi difference I was trying to look. And it was the Hasta star, which is exactly 60 degrees before the Yogatara. And that's where I see. And I'm going to talk about some mythology story of Savitri Satyavan also when I talk about festival part, which I always do. So that is something, even position wise, if you put Jyeshtha in the first house, Hasta will fall in which house?
11th.
11th house.
11th
Yeah.
house. 11th is also 6th from 6th.
Yeah. Enemy of enemy.
Yeah. So there is something, this was just the point came in when you people were discussing. I think there is something related to that. And then we talked about Gayatri, Dr. Pai talked about Munjan, fear and all those things. 6th house is also your fear, competition, all those things again. So I was thinking 11th house is what, removal of fear, something, I don't know. 11th house.
Yeah. 11th house is 12th house.
No, see, here's the thing. 6th house is enemies. 6th from the 6th is the enemies of enemies. So 11th house is your friends.
Friend, 11th
Who's
house.
the enemy of the enemy?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Now, of course, 11th house also the highest of enemy, but they are in a way enemy of, they'll be your friends.
Yeah, true.
Let me just add on to that point. I think Kapilji, once you had messaged that, so in the story of Indra versus Vritrasur or Varuna, I think goes on to collect many characters. So who does Indra collect, Kapilji, if you can remind us?
Say what?
Indra goes in to collect many characters, right? Indra goes to Agni and then he collects them, and then, so I remember you once had shared that, to defeat Varuna, Indra had to go to Agni and convince him to join him.
Yes.
So that both of them can join forces and then they can defeat Varuna. And then, so kind of like how you made the remark that, Jyeshtha native might be able to convince a Kritik or a Vishaka native to form a team, like a friend, like connecting with friends so that they can defeat the enemy, of Varuna. Yeah. So something like that, I thought
that is so crazy. You are his spy team. That's a great observation.
So yeah, I was just saying what Aditya was saying about 11th house. It's actually making sense, in terms of the mythological story.
11th house is conference.
Exactly, yeah.
And all those things, yeah.
Yes.
And also see, Mercury also rules the 8th house of hidden fears and hidden enemies as well.
Yes.
Hidden,
from Jyeshtha, yes.
Yeah, that's where it gets exalted in the 6th from 6th. It's in 11th house.
And occult sciences.
Occult sciences, exactly.
Yes.
That's
The house is also the house of devotion.
yes.
So it's you can see how it can take either.
Can you also? Oh, I'm sorry.
What are you devoted to? What are you applying your energy to? It's got that element. Yeah.
Can it also show that a Jyeshtha person will have some of their friends turn into enemy as the 8th Lord goes into the exaltation in the 11th house? Hidden, a friend disguised as enemy.
Yeah, it is possible. You could say that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Competitors.
Now see, the thing is that natural 6th house is falling in the 11th house for Jyeshtha ascendant. So the 11th house is actually falling in the Virgo sign, which is actually the natural enemies. So some friends become enemies by default.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great point, Sanjay.
Yeah, I'm a good teacher, man. I mean, I think I'm
You're
instigating.
an excellent teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very great teachers. Yeah.
That's why I went to Agni and says, give me the pie team.
Okay. So I want to also connect about how this Greek mythology and so we saw how Antares is opposite to Orion. Now, when I say Orion is also what Mrigashira Nakshatra, correct? Orion is Mrigashira and Rohini. We will have many opposite qualities of Mrigashira and Rohini when you compare with Jyeshtha, and we will see that. But let's talk about first Greek mythology and what does this Greek mythology. So what happens, as we saw, Taurus, Rohini is exactly opposite of Jyeshtha. So when Rohini will rise, Jyeshtha will set. When Jyeshtha will rise, Rohini will set. Okay. Or Rohini means Mrigashira also, because Rohini and Mrigashira is very nearby to each other. So that means when Orion is rising, Scorpio is setting, or when Scorpio is rising, Orion is setting. So even in Greek mythology, it was like Orion was boasted. Orion is an hunter, so he was boasting to kill all the animals on earth. So Artemis and Leto sent a scorpion against Orion, and then the scorpion, it is said in the mythology, he killed Orion. So, and there's another story also in Greek mythology. Artemis likes Orion, and Apollo is the brother of Artemis, and Scorpio against Orion. So Scorpion is killing Orion. So these mythology stories also, you see how they were made into such a way to explain the astronomical phenomena, maybe like the qualities of Jyeshtha or maybe Scorpio is very different from the qualities of Taurus. Now, what is Scorpio? Scorpio, of course, is like 8th house and all, destruction, death, and all. And what is Orion? Orion is birth, the star of birth. I think all the star of growth and all those. So you can see the opposite patterns here, Scorpio as well as with Orion. Keywords from the myth. So we can see again with this Greek mythology, we saw these fights happening, protection, love affairs. Love affairs is again 8th house things. And then that's why Orion and Scorpio are basically two opposite things. So in winter, the sun is in Scorpio. So when the sun is in Scorpio, that means Orion is visible the entire night. Like when the sun sets, sun is in Scorpio. So when the sun sets, our when the sun is in Scorpio and it sets, that means Orion is rising. And the entire night, the Orion will be visible and it will set. And when the Orion will set, again the Scorpio will rise, again the sun will rise. So you can see the Orion the entire night. So this is the winter times are the best time to see Orion. It's one of the winter constellation also, they say. So that's why in winter you can see the entire night the constellation of Orion, and in summer you can see entire night the constellation of Scorpio. Okay. But let's talk about some of the astrology. This is not an astronomy class, but some talks about how the qualities of Mrigashira and or Rohini is very much opposite of Jyeshtha. Now, if you talk about deity, who is the deity of Mrigashira? Mrigashira Nakshatra deity is the moon, where it debilitates in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is again consisting of Anuradha and Jyeshtha. And the deity here is Mitra and Indra. Mitra is the deity of Anuradha and Indra is the deity of Jyeshtha. So here it's a Mitra is nothing but sun, Mrigashira is moon. The planet ruler of Mrigashira is Mars. The planetary ruler of Anuradha is Saturn, and the planetary ruler of Jyeshtha is Mercury. Again, Mars and Mercury are opposite. Again, we can say enemies or something like that. The Purushartha of Mrigashira is Moksha. Anuradha and Jyeshtha. For Anuradha, it is Dharma. Jyeshtha is Artha. Anuradha is Anuradha is Dharma and Artha. I guess. Is it? I don't know. Purushartha is Moksha, or I don't know how it is. Maybe I must have confused here. But again, the qualities again are different. Gana is Devta here, Mrigashira, while Jyeshtha, the Gana is Rakshasa. Again, the qualities are different. The Varna is farmer here, and the Varna is Shudra here. Now, farmer is nothing but owner of the land, and Shudra is nothing but like a worker in the land. So again, the qualities are different. The Trimurti principle of Mrigashira is Vishnu element. Trimurti principle of Jyeshtha is Shiva element. Vishnu is the preserver, Shiva is the destroyer. And if you take the Mrigashira, the element is the earth, and Jyeshtha, the element is, I guess, Vayu, and Anuradha it is Agni, and earth and Agni are again opposite pairs. Similarly, the animal symbol here for Mrigashira is the female serpent, and the bird symbol is hen for Mrigashira. And here, if you see Anuradha, it's the female deer, and also the male deer is for the Jyeshtha. And the bird symbol for Anuradha is peacock, and the bird symbol for Jyeshtha is duck. And you can see here again serpent and peacock again are enemies here. So you can see even not even in the position of the constellations they are in separately, but also they are opposite in terms of their, you can talk about animal or the principles or the varna or the planetary energies or the deity, whatever. There are a lot of opposite themes connected with the Mrigashira and also when compared to Jyeshtha. So that's what I wanted to point out, like how astronomically also they are placed opposite to each other, and even qualities wise they are like so much opposite themes can be noted. And here in Jyeshtha you will see struggle, you will see fightings, you will see opponents and all those things, while in the Mrigashira or maybe in Rohini it's nothing but the sign of the growth. So what happened? Some people are laughing. I don't know.
We're just laughing, no, it's kind of interesting that you're talking about, Anuradha and Jyeshtha. And, we had this Kapil just disappeared and he just came back. So we're
I
just
don't
like
know what he does.
laughing at
He
that.
sometimes disappears in
Yeah.
thin air. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
so
definitely
probably,
some mischief going on.
yeah,
Kapil is hiding his mouth.
Just read the
Yeah.
messages. Like
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to say was it's interesting. This Kapiel
Laugh, let's laugh. Let's finish the laugh.
but the moon is actually Mrigashira's Soma. And what is Indra?
Exactly. Yeah, Soma.
What
He
is
wants to drink
for?
Soma.
What does he have like a greed for, really?
Soma.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah.
There is something else when Kapil was away.
That I figured it out.
And, amazingly, what I was seeing, and this came to me just now as Aditya was speaking about this. Can anybody tell me which is the vehicle of Indra?
Yeah, Airavat. Right, yeah. Airavat
Okay.
is the elephant. Yeah.
Okay, elephant. Airavat, Vata, Ahiravata, Vata. What does Vata means? Vata.
Air, light.
Light, air, okay. And which
Yeah.
Jyeshtha. Jyeshtha. For Jyeshtha,
Yeah.
which house becomes the vehicle? For vehicle, what do you see? Which house?
Fourth house. And that is
Fourth house.
Aquarius. Yeah.
Aquarius. That is the Mula Trikona of Saturn. And that gets exalted in the 12th house of Vata. Vata means there is another name for Swati Nakshatra.
Oh,
That's where
interesting.
it gets exalted. So the vehicle is Airavata. Okay,
Yeah.
belonging to Airavati. Now, Airavata was an elephant which had 5. That's the elephant symbol I can see behind Kapil as well. It's a mythological white elephant with 5 trunks.
Right. Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah, but let's
here
move
it is.
forward. Yeah.
Vata is gas.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, a lot of gas, right? That Jyeshtha natives might have problems with gas. That's potentially possible. That's very possible.
Okay.
Maybe these are who actually make a lot of fart jokes and stuff like that. Maybe that's possible.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Okay. Another thing I want to say to you guys is, who's the mother and father of Airavata?
No.
It is Kashyapa Rishi and Kadru, the mother of all the serpents.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
interesting.
Ahir also means serpents. Remember that. Ahir Budnya. Serpent of the ocean. So Airavata is also from the serpentine race. He's a big elephant because he's called as Abhra Matanga. Abhra Matanga means the elephant of the clouds. And let's not forget that, he was called as Magavan. Indra was also called as Magavan. Magavan means the Lord of the clouds. That's why he brings the rainfall. Okay. So the Vata element is something which I wanted to speak about, as we were talking about Airavata.
No, don't worry, Doctor.
Yeah, it's very
Everything is
fascinating.
everything is going with energy-wise perfectly harmonious.
Yeah, very fascinating, Dr. Pai. Exact fourth house custom Jyeshtha would be Purvabhadrapada. If you begin, it might be Satabhisha, but the rest of them will be Purvabhadrapada, which is literally the dragon of the cloud. So it's kind of like Airavata is like the dragon of the clouds in the air.
And it was another
very
name.
interesting.
Airavata.
Yeah.
The name for Airavata was called as Nagamalla. Nagamalla means the fight, the one who fights the fighting elephant. Malla means somebody who gets mad. Have you seen the elephant which goes mad, or must they say?
Yes. Yes.
That's a fight. That's what it is. Airavat gets, whenever you go to the battlefield, you can go, Nagamalla. Naga is, again, connection with the serpents. His mother is the serpentine race, Kadru. All the serpents came from Kadru. So there is a very strong, correlation. Let's not forget the mythological story where Indra was protecting all the divine serpents, in the Khandwa forest. Do you remember that story that we always talk about, where Krishna and Arjuna had to create a canopy of arrows to burn the forest for Agni? Okay?
Yes.
Anyway, But there is some symbolism with Indra and also with the serpents, because he's best friends with the serpents, and he protects all the divine serpents in the Khandwa forest. Anyway, let's go ahead with the other thing.
Serpents is because interesting, because again, if you say Jyeshtha in the first house, then opposite is again Taurus, Rohini, Mrigashira. Animal deity is snake, and also the ninth house is
ninth house is Ashlesha.
Again, Ashlesha is ninth house. So again.
Okay. Anyway, let's carry on.
So also what is interesting is that Rahu and Ketu is actually getting exaltation debilitation in Jyeshtha, the 20 degrees, right? Some schools of thought, they say that. Like getting debilitated in Jyeshtha, Ketu is getting exalted in Jyeshtha, so which is again serpentine energy is there. Something with serpentine energy is there. And it's kind of interesting, right? Yeah. Rahu, sure, yeah.
Because, I think when he was away, it got us thinking about many other things about Jyeshtha, which would have never come out otherwise. So
right, exactly. It's an interesting omen, I would say, like, yeah, for
all about the omens.
Probably these natives should probably watch out for their digestion and all that kind of stuff, like what are they eating, what are they consuming, are they drinking too much beer, are they consuming too much cigar? Hello. But yeah, let's move forward, Aditya, please.
Okay, so anyway,
go ahead, you're going to say something.
I'm not going to talk because I think you mentioned Sandeep about Indra and Vritrasuru. So there is also again fighting element involved.
Right.
So let me see. Okay, now this is something interesting observations here. In 1992, I was just looking again fightings. When I thought fightings, so 6 December 1992, we had this religious riots happened in India, correct?
Right.
Babri Masjid and all those things. And I was looking what was in Jyeshtha, and you see so many planets occupying here. Now, I don't know the exact timing, how well it was, but 15:45, 3:45 p.m. on 6. That was a time when these attacks on this happened. And here, if you see, I was considering the position of planet. What are the planets in Jyeshtha? Sun is in Jyeshtha. What else? Rahu is in Jyeshtha. And Mercury is not in here. Mercury is in Vishakha here. So you can see Sun and Rahu both are in Jyeshtha. And in the 8th house. So that maybe probably opposite energies, and Jyeshtha was really very active on that day. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, problems with your fights and other things.
Yeah, it's interesting because Moon is getting debilitated in Scorpio, and Moon is the 9th lord of religion. So that's the other thing. Yeah. So it makes sense for that. Yeah.
So that's another thing here, and then. I think we didn't mention about this Ganda Mula Nakshatras here. Now,
yes.
I want to bring that point of Ganda Mula. Every sign, the junction of the Pisces and the Aries, the junction of Cancer and Leo, and the junction of Scorpio and Pisces, Scorpio and Sagittarius is called Ganda Mula Nakshatras, the last degrees of. So the last degrees of Jyeshtha and the first degree of Mula is a Ganda Mula Nakshatra. And of course, so exactly Mercury is in the Mula Nakshatra, the Ganda Mula part of Jyeshtha Nakshatra. And there are 3 types of Mula Ganda Mula: Swagandanta, Matru Gandanta, and Pitru Gandanta. The Swagandanta is the junction of Pisces and Aries. Matru Gandanta is the junction of Cancer and Leo. Cancer again, because Cancer is what? The 4th house. And the Pitru Gandanta is the junction of Scorpio and Sagittarius, which is Pitru. Again, Sagittarius is the 9th house. 9th house is connected with father, so Pitru Gandanta. So when the planets are when you have these planets here, you can say that aspect, and I have seen like planets in these Gandanta positions will always give some or the other trouble for that native. For example, if you have Venus in this Gandanta point, problems in marriage, something can happen. If you have Mercury, maybe problems in communication can happen, so on and so forth. So
I had a question away from this Gandanta point. In India, you know how they use the term Gandu? Does that have anything to do?
For sure, big time.
I don't think.
Yeah,
He's taking it there right now.
Yeah, it's
taking it there.
If this was like this, like this national TV. Bleeped out. The word you just said we bleeped out. Yeah, so yeah, I have to think about it. It's good fun for people to laugh. So yeah.
And because Jyeshtha is what, 8th house, man. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
8th house is what?
Yeah, for sure.
Sexual
Yeah.
organs.
8 houses. Yeah, 8 houses is your back part, right? So that's what
Sexual
exactly.
organs.
I see. Okay. I always wondered about that with the Gandanta. I was like,
Yeah.
But then how do you define Gandanta for Leo, and then you can't say that word.
Yeah, no, but see, the strongest word is always the other point, right?
Correct.
Which is what the Pitta the point.
That's why Kapil has to come now when we are talking about Jyeshtha, when we are talking about 8th house, when we are talking about the back part of the body.
Exactly that.
Also
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about defiance and going against,
Yeah.
which is
So all 8th
Yeah,
house.
it's interesting.
he's being
It's
the
just again
Jyeshtha.
I had to again to point out, right? So like he left the sea, came back, right? So these natives might have to go through such things in their life. They are losing the position of power. They have to come down, eventually regain the position of power at some
Because
that
of
kind of
something
things
they
can
ate.
it's really
because there's exactly because something
the
they
karma. When they
could be karma, could be like could be the difficulties, insecurities, all that kind of stuff, stuff like that, their own psychological issues which they are lack of willingness to confront their own fears. That's what I would actually say. But yeah.
That's very valid, Sandeep ji, because I'm thinking of things Dr. Paiji has said about, how the cycle of Indra, how he'll be on the throne, but then he goes into repentance because of something he's done. So then he withdraws into the jungle.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. And Kapil's being the...
Jyeshtha here, the
He's
live
acting
demonstration of
out for
Jyeshtha. Yeah.
There's a joke that reminds me of the difference between, Rohini and Jyeshtha. Is the science of Vata. Rohini is, silent but violent. is loud but proud.
I'm a very proud person.
I don't know where this is going.
Anyway,
I'm proud.
some of the personality charts.
I'm proud of the
Violent.
You guys, this is the Jyeshtha irreverence, right? You have reverence and then you have irreverence. I'm even wondering about irreverent comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
A rebellious or irreverent comedy or social commentators like Sandeep ji, how you're talking about people who feed information that can even be, people online that do this kind of irreverent, Yeah. So,
like Bhaga and Indra coming together, man, that's a party.
It's New Year celebrations going on somewhere.
New Year celebrations, exactly.
Yes.
I think you're Gandanta point, correct? You're Gandanta.
You have to release a lot of karmas at Gandanta points. That's
Version of 2018 and 2019.
Some fireworks going on somewhere. Somebody is celebrating their New Year.
that's right.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah.
At the Gandanta.
So, actually, let's come back. So, we have one character here, Albert Einstein, and it was correctly, GG, you're correct. It was moon in Jyeshtha for him, 22 degrees Scorpio. We can see this leaving the legacy.
Yes, I thought so. A lot of times people that leave legacies, there's a code.
Correct.
It needs to be combined with other things or something similar, but you will see it a lot.
What do you think about this now? USA chart, of course, there are people debate about, some people say that it has got Sagittarius Lagna, but I feel some people say it has got Jyeshtha Nakshatra Lagna. And I feel mostly when I see the chart of USA, I think the Jyeshtha Nakshatra Lagna is more appropriate. That's what I feel. I don't know what are your thoughts? Because, of course, USA is more like a Jyeshtha now.
And did you think about it? National security, the psychological warfare. Think about the U.S. Think about what it really is, not the glory. I hate to say it that way. Here's more irreverence. I'm not really being irreverent. But think about Indra, his throne, and I mean Zeus. Okay, imagine Zeus and then look at DC. Look at how it's designed.
DC, yeah.
It's like Indra's throne. And we crush and conquer. I mean, we are the military-industrial complex. This country is the military-industrial complex of the world.
Yeah, again, military, all that Jyeshtha qualities, mass qualities, you're saying.
Specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also the spies, right? Spies, because remember
Spies.
Indra had 1,000
Thousand
yonis,
eyes.
which became 1,000 eyes. So again, eyes again. You have that going on. So a lot of extensive spies and all that. So.
And if you
Yeah.
put Jyeshtha Nakshatra in the I think in the first house, then you have what third in the 8th house you have Gemini, correct? And there are a lot of
Yes.
planets for USA in USA chart in Gemini sign.
Yes.
All that
For
8th house
sure.
energies are very prominently seen in USA.
Well, think
Yes.
about it. This is power, right? And not only power, but secured power. Like it's extremely guarded, and a lot is so secret. A lot is so secret, and the psychological warfare is without a doubt. I mean, that part, we are masters of all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would doubt that it would.
So I also feel that Jyeshtha Nakshatra Lagna for USA is, I feel much.
Because most of them are saying Sagittarius. So, I mean, it's like so confusing, but it does make sense. The Jyeshtha.
Jyeshtha, it makes more sense to
Yeah.
me.
Indra, if you think of Indra.
Yeah.
If you think of the god, which is, the nakshatra used to be named after the god.
And US is known as so far, even up to now, I would say people call US the number one country. So they have these terms for the first, the number one, and all that.
And this is embarrassing, but we were ranked number one in confidence, but really low in intelligence.
Oh yeah, that's
that's the last thing you want is a confident person without intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury is what, finance?
But it's just that will to dominate. Remember what do you get? The blessing of this nakshatra is to dominate. And what if you look at the U.S., we crush, we dominate, we do. Even all you got to do is just observe the qualities. Like what's actually physically happening. You could sit there and philosophize about Sagittarius Lagna, which I know some very notable astrologers have given the U.S. Sagittarius, and it does make sense when you think of Dhanu Rashi and you think of this, but we're not really that. If you really look at what we are, I look at with a discerning eye, and you see the physical manifestation of what we are. It's very Scorpio, and it's extremely Jyeshtha-like.
And I was thinking, Jyeshtha Nakshatra is again ruled by Mercury. Mercury is finance, currency notes. Currency notes are green color here.
And all the 8th house, which is shared assets, these things like, and all the secret activity that goes on, it's the 8th house makes, most of our presidents have a prominent 8th house. Most of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them have had a prominent 8th house. So all you got to do is look. So yeah.
Current president is in the dasha of the 8th lord.
Yes, it's common. Actually, it's common. People will think, oh, this person's going into a so-called good dasha, so they're going to get the election. But what you actually observe typically is the person entering the more difficult dasha. Typically, the person entering the more...
I can see one eye here.
Oh, yeah, that's Indra. That's all.
Indra, the $1 note.
As Sandeep Ji was saying with the eyes, the Sahasra.
I see this. I don't know whether you could see $1 note, but there's an eagle. And in this eagle, in his mouth, he has got the snake.
Yeah, there's Gantanda, right? Eagle and snake.
Yeah,
Maga and Ashlesha.
Yeah, Maga and Ashlesha. Yeah, correct. Beautiful. And there's also a feeling, many people from US think, this is the common thing. I know it all.
Yeah.
Or I know what is good for you or what is best for you. Let me decide.
Yeah.
That is so powerful, Dr. Payaji, what you just said.
Very true.
Going into other countries like you know what they want, and telling the women that they can't dress like this because it's not liberating them. I mean, who are we to decide that? That is such a huge point.
Yeah. Domination of saying, and maybe diplomatically saying, I know what is best for you. That is Jyeshtha.
Yes. Wow.
In a way saying, I know it all. And I know what is good for you. So you should be doing what I am trying to tell you to do, because that is good for you. That's what they believe in.
Anyway, what else? Okay. Now this was something interesting observation. nothing. I don't want to afraid people and all. But when I think, Dr. Pa, you were teaching classes long time back in 2016 about nakshatras. And then we had this Jyeshtha, and then I was just looking observations of Mars and Saturn dance in Scorpio. So I was observing in 2016. And when I saw that Mars and Saturn dance in Scorpio, there was like always some fights or something like that happening. Because what was there in 2016? Saturn was in Jyeshtha Nakshatra, very close, in fact, very close to the Jyeshtha Nakshatra Yogatara. And Mars also came in. What is Mars? Mars is blood. What is Saturn? Mars, and so this fighting, riots, fighting. So Jyeshtha Nakshatra is also, you can see a close resemblance of fighting and all. And when especially when such planets such as Mars and Saturn comes in the picture. And slightly deviating from Jyeshtha, but I would like to talk about something about, so I'm just making August 24, 2016, Mars plus Saturn in Scorpio, 24 degrees. It was exactly very near to 24 degrees. And then it was one of the bloodiest month in the 2 decades, it was mentioned in one of the newspapers here. And 12th June 2016 was Orlando Nightclub shooting just 2 years back. So I was looking into this, what is this Mars and Saturn? Because this happened when exactly Mars and Saturn was in Jyeshtha. And I was looking, is there any correlation with the Mars-Saturn combination with these riots or bloodshed or maybe shooting things? And then I came across this newspaper and where it was 10 deadliest Mars shootings which happened. And then they gave a list of all these timings here. You can see when all these shootings happened actually. And I was trying to see when is there any relation of Mars Saturn there. So these are some 10 or 11 shootings. I just noted down the timings and all. Of course, sometimes it's an approximate timing. For example, I may not have the exact timing here, but something like around that time. I'm just trying to see what is the combination of Saturn Mars. So if you see the numbers are remaining the same. So I took the chart of this time for the first. And I saw that Mars was in Leo 22, Saturn was in Scorpio 20. That means what? Mars is aspecting Saturn. Now, if you see here for the second case, Orlando, June 12, 2016, Mars was in Scorpio 2 degrees, Saturn was in Scorpio 19. So Mars and Scorpio are together. So similarly, these are the positions of all the events, and I noted down the position of Mars, I noted down the position of Saturn, and tried to see what happens what. And every time there is some relation, whether Saturn aspects Mars or Mars aspects Saturn through their 5th, 4th, 7th, 8th, or Saturn is aspecting Mars through its 3rd, 7th, or 10th aspect. So in all the white cases, which is not in red color, all the white, there is clearly a combination aspect and all see. But I didn't see any relation for case 3, case 6, and case 7. And when I saw in D9 chart, again, there was relation between Mars and Saturn there too. So if you consider D9 chart and D1 chart, out of all these 11 cases, out of 12, I got 11 cases was 90% match. Now these are, when I say it's like 12, I was considering one more, which I discussed here. Of August 24th, including August 24, 2016 too. So these are the 11 cases here and including August 2016. So there are 12 cases and 11 out of 12 cases match with Saturn and Mars combination. And only one case where I was not having a match there was no relationship between Mars and Saturn, but still shootings happened. And I don't know why, but most of the time when you see those shootings, you can say that Mars and Saturn is somewhere playing a role. And exactly when Saturn and Mars again conjunct on this year, 3rd April 2018, I was trying to see what will happen. And then exactly on US airstrike happened on 14th April 2018. Syria, we are having all these Syria problems, bombings and all. 7th April, Saturn was 15 degree and Mars was at 17 degrees of, I think, what it was in, I don't think this was, I don't remember if this year is, I think 7th April 2018. And I'll just check what sign it is.
Let's see.
Yeah, 7th April 2018.
It says on April 14th.
Correct.
Yeah.
What it is, where was the Saturn and Mars?
Well, we know Saturn would have been in Sagittarius, and then Mars would have been probably in Scorpio.
Well,
Did you get what was, where was 7th, what was 14th April? Maybe let me check.
Here.
Mars was actually in Mula. Saturn was also in Mula. That's what.
Okay,
Mars,
Sagittarius, yeah, both.
Yeah. Saturn and well, Saturn and Mars both in Purvashada at that point. Yeah. 14th April 2018.
Oh, is it? It went to Purvashada?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it entered into Purvashada. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. 2018.
2018.
But yeah, still it's relevant because Saturn Mars conjunct.
Saturn
it's
Mars
also relevant, I
conjunct,
would say.
yes. Saturn Mars
Yeah.
conjunct. So you can see again. So Sagittarius, basically, so I didn't. That was my confusion. I didn't wrote what sign it was, but it was Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So Sagittarius 15 degree and Sagittarius 17 degree. So very close again here. Saturn and Mars together.
Right.
Syria attack.
Yeah.
You can see this combination. Just note, see what it is.
Yeah, could be these natives might have to deal with some heavier karma in general, or something like that. That's possible, yeah. Saturn Mars conjunction, yeah. Okay.
Now, why this Jyeshtha Nakshatra, the planetary lord is Mercury, and I'm slowly coming to the festival part. But let's see what happens to Mercury. We know who are the parents of Mercury.
Moon and Tara, Soma and Tara.
Tara and Moon, correct? So Mercury gained knowledge. So actually, then Mercury was feeling very. Then we know all the fights happened between the Jupiter as well as the Jupiter and the Moon. And then Mercury was the illegitimate child of Jupiter, and then Mercury was feeling very, because of all this happened, and he was not feeling comfortable. Like, people may ask him, who is his father? So it is his Jupiter or a Moon. So what did he do was, this is a story I read somewhere. He went into forest saying that, okay, I have all these problems in my family and people are asking about my father. So he was very feeling humiliated. And then he said, to forget about humiliation, what you should do is to gain knowledge. And if you have really very good knowledge, people won't ask you about from where you come from or what you do or what is your background or all. If you have really good knowledge, people don't ask about all those. People just accept you, your teachings and all. So that's why Mercury went, and then he started learning, started gaining knowledge, and with his buddhi, with his intellect. And then that's why this Mercury, as we know, is a lot of all intellect and all logic and reasoning and analyzing and all those things. And that's how Mercury gained knowledge. So that's why Jyeshtha is the nakshatra of Mercury. These people also will have a lot of knowledge. So that means there is some quality of knowledge associated with this planet. So what are the festivals that are celebrated when the sun is transiting Jyeshtha? Every year, the sun transits Jyeshtha from 3rd to 16th December. Every year. And what are the festivals that we celebrate? We celebrate Datta Jayanti, we celebrate Gita Jayanti, or Mokshada Ekadashi. Okay. Now, what is Dattatreya Jayanti? Dattatreya is nothing but a guru. He is the form of Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma coming together and giving. And I think I don't know if anyone remembers his parents. Who were his parents? Atri Rishi, and I don't know. Maybe Dr. Pai. Do you remember
Anusuya and Atri. Anusuya.
Correct. Anusuya is the mother. Okay, yeah, correct. So you can see that Datta Jayanti and Gita Jayanti is what? The ultimate knowledge. Gita Jayanti is supposed to be when Lord Vishnu or Krishna gave the Gita, knowledge of Gita to Arjuna. So again, Gita Jayanti, again, on sharing knowledge and all those things. So again, these festivals are exactly celebrated when sun is transiting Jyeshtha. Then I was trying to look, I'm just.
And Deity, that's also, so that's Arjun's father.
Arjun's father, yes.
Yeah.
And what are the festivals celebrated when moon is transiting Jyeshtha? So there's an important festival in India where moon is transiting Jyeshtha, is the Savitri and Satyavan story. I don't know, Dr. Pai, can you say the story? I know. Can you repeat the story of this Savitri Satyavan? Yama.
So basically like Satyavan, go ahead, Dr. Pai. Yeah.
No. Go ahead, Sandeep. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like how Satyavan died and Yamaraj came to take Satyavan's soul, and Savitri being the devoted wife she could and she had to follow Yamaraj, and she didn't leave Yama, and Yama was so pleased by that Savitri following her. He gave her 3 boons. Like, but by the 3rd boon, she was basically asking like, give me children, and then Yamaraj was like, okay, here you have children. Savitri said, but I will only have children with my husband, so like, so that's kind of interesting. And then Yamaraj had to back Satyavan's life,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken. And so that is a interesting story. Yeah.
So, but
So
you
it's,
see now where is Yamraj? Which nakshatra is ruled by Yama?
That's Bharani.
If you put Bharani in the 1st house, where is Jyeshtha coming in?
It's 8th house.
8th house, correct? So, and if you put Jyeshtha in the 1st house, where is Bharani coming?
It's 6th house.
6th house, enemy. So you see how you can see the pattern of the defeat of Yama, you can say.
Interesting.
The defeat of the death. Is Jyeshtha.
Interesting.
It's very interesting to see that connection.
Yeah.
And who is Savitri?
Savitri is Savitur because Hasta, right?
Again, Hasta connection you see. And Dr. Pai again was saying about the Munja. So again, interestingly, astronomically, stories, everything is connected to something about this Virgo. And it's all the stories
Yes.
I was trying to get about this. So Jyeshtha is nothing but the death of the death. The death of the death.
Exactly.
Now, when I say the death of the death means not the death of Yama, but winning over the death. That's what the power of this is. So finally, there are some of the keywords. I will not talk about those, but that's what I think I have this. Finally.
Togi, I had a question. So when you were showing that slide of the actual constellation of Scorpio, and you said Mula is happening in Scorpio. Now, obviously, we have spoken about the unequal Garga system, but let's say even if you use the equal system, would half of the Jyeshtha Nakshatra, or quarter of the Jyeshtha Nakshatra will also have the qualities of Mula instead of just going to Sagittarius for Mula?
Definitely yes, because again, it's a Devata Dvandva principle. Even if you apply Devata Dvandva principle, Jyeshtha and Mula are dimorphic pairs. So the qualities of Jyeshtha and Mula are there, like it's a mixture of Jyeshtha and Mula always, even with the dimorphic pairs.
So that's why they want to uproot things and just kill things and take them out of the...
Yes, but Mula will be much more stronger there compared to Jyeshtha.
Okay, and that part.
Yeah, because it's also interesting the Mula and both share the scorpion's tail, at least in that equal system. Both the scorpion's tail, some is falling in Mula, some is falling in Jyeshtha, so both will have that power in my opinion. That's one thing.
So Mula is an integral part of Scorpio part, that's what, astronomically, yes, definitely, but that's interesting to see.
I mean, have you seen the qualities of Mula coming in onto that Scorpion side?
Oh yes. Yeah, Mula, definitely. Scorpio is again, when they get angry and all,
They destroy, they just take
these nakshatras are often compared in classical texts. So there's definitely something. They compare them. Like there's all those remedies to do if you're born under Jyeshtha or Mula, which I actually flatly just I don't know. I just think it's a lot of fear that you're putting into people. But you will see that they're side by side with the remedies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the unequal division, if you really look at it, Jyeshtha in the unequal, and Jyeshtha is half nakshatra, and so is Mula. So both of them fit in Scorpio, actually. If you really look at Jyeshtha, it starts at 6 degrees 40, and I think it finishes at 13 degree 20, I guess. Aditya, can you just confirm that? And 16 degrees 40, I think. Yeah, 6 degrees 40, Jyeshtha in the unequal division, Garga system. 6 degrees 40 to 16 degrees 40 is, Jyeshtha, and Mula is, I think in the unequal division.
The unequal, because see, whether we could take unequal, in nakshatras you can take, but what about the Rashis? How will you define Rashis?
Yeah, that's true. Rashis will be
something to do. Basically, we are doing some research on that, but we have to do.
Yeah, but even if you look at from the zodiac signs as well, and you look at the different animals, if you really see that Scorpio is the only sign which is connected to animals which have multiple legs, not four, more than four.
Mm-hmm.
They are called as in Sanskrit we call it as Kita. Kita means insects like spiders and all of them are only connected to, that is the only Rashi which is connected to Kita. Kita means multiple leg. Then you have four-legged animals. Then you have two-legged animals. Then you have no-legged animals. So there is a system of even the Rashis where there are no legs. There are two legs which are called as Nara or humans. Four-legged Chatuspad. And then we have Kitas. Kita is only Scorpio. That's the only Rashi which has been given to Kitas.
Dr. Paiji, it's interesting you're saying that because, I think it's only Leo and Scorpio that have on one topic. Like Leo, they just call wild.
Yeah.
They don't even give it any legs or anything. They just call it wild, the wild Rashi. And then Scorpio, they call the insect or centipede Rashi, actually.
Exactly, centipede Rashi.
Yes.
That's what the scorpion comes from, The scorpion comes from that.
Yeah, very fascinating, yeah.
And it's very interesting to see that Jyeshtha is the heart of the Scorpio and Mula is the tail. The tail is where you have the poison there. But when does a scorpion will sting you? When it has got fear in the heart. Correct. When the fear comes for the scorpion, and where does fear comes? In the heart, in Jyeshtha. So Jyeshtha is the cause for the Mula. The fear comes, the insecurity comes in Jyeshtha, and the action is done by Mula part. So the sequence of nakshatras, if you see.
That's fascinating, yeah.
Which padha, so the last two padhas of Jyeshtha will actually be falling upon the scorpion tail?
No, the scorpion tail is completely Mula.
Oh, completely? No, I mean, in like equal system, if you were to kind of integrate both of them, and because you're saying that it's in Scorpio, but we are using Mula in Sagittarius, but if, let's say, I'm looking at it from a practical side of, let's say, giving somebody a reading. And if I saw this, if I know this now, how would I approach trying to give something to a Jyeshtha person, knowing that Mula can also be there?
See, there is another thing that 5 or 6 years ago, a Gujarati astrologer, I was discussing with him. He said about Mula. Okay, this is very interesting. If you see Mula, okay, Sagittarius is half human and half horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said in Prashna system, if the Lagna comes in Mula, the final part of Mula, then it is very unlikely you will get, if a thief comes and he steals something, it's very, very difficult to find him. Why? Is because he's in the human form in the first 15 degrees and the next 15 degrees he's a horse, which means he's actually ran away. He's ran away too far away. You understand, the Mula is more to do with secretive things and getting to the treasure. The Mula is the center where, you keep all the center of the galaxy. So center of where you kept all the jewels and everything. So anybody who is very smart, a thief who understands astrology, he says, if he steals in Mula and Purvashada, the first pada, then he runs away. It's very difficult to find the treasure which is lost because the thief has run away, he says. Because it's Nara.
That's so fascinating because also Mother Kali, all the mantras to her is the goddess of thieves.
Yes.
There's quite a few that celebrate her as a god. Not in a negative. We get so caught up on this piety thing, right? Come on, like we're talking about Jyeshtha here. So I'm almost nervous to say this because someone's going to write like, oh, Kali could never, but just look it up.
Even if you look at the qualities of Jyeshtha and Mula, they have a very similar theme. Jyeshtha is Alakshmi. There is also Alakshmi themes in Mula. Okay, she is also called as Shikla Devi. there is so much of commonalities that you see that it's very difficult to distinguish between these two nakshatras. I think there is a lot of commonalities between. More like what Eve was mentioning in her presentation, Mula is all about the inner path that you need to follow. The inner path that you need to follow. And the speller of sleep, I would say. So we need Bharani energy, Kali energy, and we need Mula energy.
But he always closes.
Well, let's bring in the closer then. Dr. Sandeep, good morning.
Well, before I go to wake up, why don't you share what you would normally share on Jyeshtha Nakshatra? What are your observations on?
One of the things that I have found with Jyeshtha Nakshatra is they will definitely, and this is proven probably, I would say, over 85 to 90%, where they would kind of seduce a third-party spouse. Seducing a third party,
right,
and definitely illicit affairs, and they love to hide their wealth or not give the true accounts of their wealth. So, like one of those people who
make bitcoins. Yeah,
okay. You're like, man, this guy must be hurting. You want some food here? Yet the guy is a multi-millionaire, but he's driving the worst car, the worst thing, because he does not want to show his true wealth. So, like, kind of like
a miserly quality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to show and become this beacon of wealth for everybody to take it from them. So they'll have this like really really low quality lifestyle in the front, while when they're in their private palace, they're in their palace. But they're just afraid to show that, oh, this is the wealth I have. They will lie about how much they make. Oh yeah, I only make 60,000, while they could be making 700,000-800,000, a year. So those are the qualities that comes in, and obviously they also like to conquer real estate, conquer land, like wanting to have multiple land and real estates too. So these are some of the things that I've seen, and obviously, yes, the eldest sibling. Usually, whenever it occurs in the ascendant nakshatra or the ascendant lords in Jyeshtha, they usually are always the eldest sibling. Or what happens is, even if they were the youngest sibling, they become the most successful and they can take over. So everybody looks at them that, oh, let me talk to them because I want their opinion. So the mother will start taking the youngest one's opinion versus the eldest, because they're the most successful. They naturally become the eldest sibling in the family.
And one more thing, what I've seen with, just to add to what Kapiel was saying, they have some fascination for watches. Some amazing watches like Rolexes and all of this. It's about time. Time is very important for them. And they, pen and watches. Pen, like a Mont Blanc pen. They will never give their pen away, which means they will say, oh, if you say, can I borrow your pen? They say, no, this is a, $500 pen. I don't want to give it to you.
Yeah.
The idea is to let go of the pen. Is to just give away your pen, because Mars is the ink. Mars gets exalted in the third house from Jyeshtha. So giving away your most important possession, or that you are trying to be very possessive about, that's about being the Jyeshtha. I mean,
why watches though with Jyeshtha?
Because Saturn gets.
I would say also Rahu getting there. Rahu, Ketu being exalted, Rahu being debilitated could also be one thing. So they want luxury, more of Rahu in their life. So, yeah.
And Rahu is also ruling the fourth house of Sukha. I mean, co-lord of the Aquarius, which is the Sukha Bhava, isn't it? The thing. And time becomes very crucial for many of them, because don't forget that Mahakal, the Jyotirling, that's connected to the 12th house. 12th house is Libra. Libra is about Mahakal, and that's why Saturn gets exalted in Libra. That's Mahakal. Mahakal means the one who slayed a demon called Anushan. Demon, Asur, Anushan. Anu means very small, fraction. Shan means fraction of a second.
Yeah.
Somebody who slayed the fraction of a second, because fraction of a second is everything, So somebody who slayed the fraction of a second, not Anushan, Dushan. Shan is the name of the demon. Du means bad time. So if you have to kill bad time, then you need a Mahakal. Mahakal is, the Shiva. Mahakal. Kal means time. Again, Saturn. Kal is Saturn. Saturn gets exalted in the 12th house. That's where Mahakaleshwar is associated with the Libra. So Dushan is the demon. Dushan means bad time or bad phase of your life. If you want to kill the bad time, then you have to have Mahakal. So somewhere there, it's about the timing for them. Exactly like Indra, it's about the timing. Then he used politics to convince his elder brother Varuna, or the ruling emperor Varuna, so that he could go and fight against Vritrasur, and he could become the undisputed emperor again. Varuna is the undisputed emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he was the Indra. Varuna was the Indra initially. Before Indra came and he said, look, brother, I think I have got all the forces behind me now. Let me take charge. And Varuna is like, okay, whatever. I don't want to prove myself that I'm bigger than you or greater than you. You are my brother. But, that is how, the Indra energy works.
Okay.
It's like every moment of glory that they can live in. That time is very important, because the timing, if I can find an opportunity where I can really turn around and say I've become the greatest, I will use that opportune time. So watches become very important for them, because the watch shows you not the times that you're living in, not the time, because every watch can show you the time.
Yeah.
But a Rolex is what it shows you the time period that you're living in.
Yeah. Very true.
What's the difference between a Rolex and a normal watch?
Dr. Paji?
Because all watches.
Could it also, I'm just asking, I wonder if it could have something to do with the third house?
Absolutely. That's what I said. It's the third house thing.
Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah. Exalted.
I thought you were saying the 12th house theme, Mahakal, but third house would be Capricorn.
No, I'm just talking about the arms.
Oh, the arm. Okay.
Yeah, but also the Saturn being the third lord. Saturn is the third lord there from Jyeshtha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Mars. And Mars is the militant. Mars is the militant. He likes order. He likes strategy. He likes all of it. Logic.
Being on time with everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Militant.
I guess. Yeah.
Let's not forget the vehicle. I mean, the third house is connected to Capricorn, the Rashi. And do you know what is the symbol of Capricorn?
Crocodile.
It is both. Half body is crocodile, half is a goat.
Or fish sometimes.
Mystical being.
Yeah.
So it is a water and land, because goats are connected to land, and crocodile is connected to water. So it's about the land and water, earth and water symbology there. That's why it becomes very important. Which
Spirit
means
material.
Yeah. It's the amphibious nature.
Okay.
I think Kapil came so that the pie team can be regulated and they can finish in 2 hours. But
exactly.
That has also gone.
That is lost. That is gone.
No, guys.
You all are wearing watches too. Come on now.
We should.
I think he has to be the Mahakal to remove the Dushan.
Can't.
All right. So I'll try to finish it up.
Yes, please do.
You're all waiting for Yama to finish.
I know, Yama.
Yeah. Now, great. So I'll just, I mean, we already discussed a lot of points. Aditya, I send you one slide, but it went later, when I asked you to. But first thing I want to. In Aditya's slides, one big thing I want to share was that in his slides, if you look at the constellation, we looked at focus on Antares. But exactly above the Scorpion constellation in Aditya's slide, you'll find the Ophiuchus constellation, which is the 13th sign. There was this whole debate of, oh my God, am I Ophiuchus or not? But there's a lot of mystery around that Ophiuchus sign. I do believe that there is a big reason why that Ophiuchus sign wasn't with the common public. Why even occult people were the only ones who were actually using that. In fact, in this slide you can see. In the top half, you can see that there is an Ophiuchus slide there. And if you look below, it's below the ecliptic, you have Antares, above the ecliptic, Ophiuchus. So it's not an accident Indra is a master of magicians also, Venus, the master of occult magic, is born in Jyeshtha also. So there's a lot of occult power within this system. So Dr. Pai hinted at tantric system like that. So yeah, that's just one thing I just want to share that. And then, because these natives will be naturally drawn to black magic, naturally drawn to power, naturally drawn to hidden systems of power, literally hacking the reality. These are the little hackers, and they'll try all the ways to hack everything. These are the biohackers. These are the people who are trying to bank systems, hacking, every kind of hackers you can think. These are the people who are willing to push the boundaries of go beyond the law, one way or the other, be the natural law, be the information law, be the security law. So they make excellent people. That's one thing. And I've seen that these natives are very much inclined towards hacking. The highest. Yogis are literally hackers of consciousness. They were trying to hack their own consciousness. That's what yogis literally are. And that's one big thing I've seen with Jyeshtha, that they are naturally drawn to hacking. They're naturally hacker. And Kapilji mentioned hidden wealth. So it's kind of interesting how Bitcoin is like this. When Saturn was transiting over. Sagittarius, Mola, and also Jyeshtha, so this hidden wealth, Bitcoin is the easiest way to hide wealth. You know what you're doing with this encrypted stuff, and again, encryption, security, all that is again, that can be connected with that. The other thing was that one Dr. Pai mentioned about Airavata. So I think he mentioned once before that how people with Jyeshtha might also have this inclination towards having a large vehicle. So like going for Bentley and stuff like that. One more thing I wanted to highlight, that these natives might be inclined to get Hummers, big vehicles like big Dodge, big like Hummer vehicle, and they might actually be driving one of them. That's one thing I've seen. And the other thing is that again, they also carry, Indra is also famous for, he's the god of rains. So he carries lightning as his weapon. So these natives love to carry some kind of weapon. If they're doing martial arts, they'll be fascinated with weapons. They want to study all the, the ninja, right? They'll be straight up, they'll be like, I want to study ninjutsu, or I want to become like a ninja. I love being a ninja. I go in the shadows and literally do something, that kind of thing. And they're very much naturally inclined to like, the secretive martial arts. If any martial art is secret, they want to study that secret form or something like that, the secretive energetic martial art. They are very much fascinated about chi, all that kind of stuff, all the Tai Chi kind of, exactly, Mars again, but here the focus on ninja, so the samurai in ancient Japan, samurai were the honorable warriors, the warriors who would straight up fight with honor, but the ninjas were the ones who would secretively hide and get the position, they were the ones who would get in from the other side, and they would go in the shadows and night, and they didn't have any moral code. Very interesting about Jyeshtha there. The other thing is that again with Vritrasur, one big thing I've seen is that these natives will have to kind of enemies. They are very great at dealing with competition. These are natives who are natural champions. They love to feel like a champion. And then, so it's almost to the point of like they're bored with ordinary life. They are like, I'm bored with this 9-to-5 job. I want a bigger challenge, and I want to go with this. And these are natives who are willing to like go to Africa, smuggle, export it to Vietnam. And these kind of things will actually excite a Jyeshtha native. You can actually do that. And then the thing is that a big thing for us Jyeshtha native is that to find their own Vritrasur whom they can defeat. And the common element with Indra's story is that Indra is the king of all gods, but he's the most insecure of them all. He's the most insecure of them all. And then he has to literally, if a rishi is meditating, a demon is meditating, he has to go and send his goons to, to upset them and literally deal with them. And he's curse, and then he has penance, and then he clears the curse away. So that's a common theme for a Jyeshtha native. Through this, like, out of their insecurity, they might do something, and after which they might have to do the penance for it. They might have to do the hard work. They might have to prepare for a long time. And they end up winning, or they end up regaining whatever they lost, or they end up actually getting or becoming Indra themselves. That's a big thing there. Evji also mentioned about psychological warfare. Again, it's kind of interesting about, I was thinking about bugs, like how you would call this information, you plant a bug to get information, because Scorpios and Indra Rashi, a bug Rashi, literally. So that's a very interesting thing on that front. The thing I've seen is that these natives will be interested in having a portfolio. They are very much interested in stocks and stuff. They'll be having a mutual fund portfolio, their stock portfolio, real estate portfolio, all that. They are very naturally drawn to that. And Dr. Pai is talking about fraction of seconds, and stocks is something that is actually, changing in fraction of seconds. So they are very much interested in that. The other thing I've seen is that, again, it was an interesting observation which happened when Saturn was transiting through Jyeshtha. I've seen that these natives on to Karna. They'll be like, tragic hero. They'll be like, I love Karna, that kind of thing. To attachment will happen. And these are natives will be talking about Suryaputra Karna or watching Suryaputra Karna on YouTube or something like that, and to the point where they'll be like attached to Karna because of this year thing. That's what I was thinking. But because Karna is having this Indra connection, Kavach connection, earring Kundal connection or all that, they'll be willing to defend Karna's action, Mahabharat, stuff like that, that kind of thing. And they'll associate a lot with Karna. Instead, Karna will actually help them one way, how Karna was bound by his words or bound by his duties or bound by the socials. And Karna was one of the biggest motivation for Karna to fight the Mahabharata was that he didn't want to become he wanted to prove that a son of a charioteer could become, even though he was the eldest of the Pandavas and all that. And definitely the eldest karma, which Kapilji said, that is very, very much true. You say you have malefics there, definitely the eldest child is having to face some kind of harder kind of karma, harder energies to deal with, that kind of thing. Now, one other interesting thing was there is this warfare, I think UG mentioned in the class when we were teaching, like the planet, like how the certain tribes, how Native American tribes would actually approach their grandmothers before they would go to war. Like these are the natives. So it's again showing a connection with Scorpio there. And so these are natives who would actually go for, and maybe they might go to the grandmother or they might go to a psychic before they actually approach a war. And like in Moon and Jyeshtha, Donald Trump has a lot of bunch of psychics at his hand, for sure. So he's approaching many psychics and stuff before he did his press stuff, Now, one other thing I wanted to share was, again, it's also said that Scorpio is a Yadukula, and so Scorpio, they call it a Yadukula Rashi. And so these are basically Yadukula's clan associated with Krishna, right? And Krishna's clan, basically, they brought destruction upon themselves. That's what they did. So many times for these natives, they themselves bring upon their own destructions out of their own insecurity. The biggest lesson for these Jyeshtha natives is to understand that there is nothing to fear in the end. We are all
interesting because when you say that Jyeshtha is seventh house from the Rohini.
Exactly
Maraka,
that.
Maraka also.
Exactly that. Because they were, and this is one interesting thing which an astrologer was saying here. And you doing this family prashna thing, and you were saying like, you guys bring your own destruction upon yourself. That's the only thing. And this is the only Yadukula Rashi is literally the entire clan who brought their own destruction because of their own intelligence and indulgence in power and things like that. They weren't willing to protect the dharma. Now, one interesting thing was that, again, the story of Ritrasur and even the story of Varna, Indra goes to Agni, makes best friends with him, and both of them begins to drink Soma. And then Indra goes to Barni, Yamaraj, and then he has to use Yamaraj's power. And finally, it's Yamaraj's power, which is actually like, controlling Varna. So all those mythological characters are Nakshatra Taras, right? So these natives, a person with the prominent Jyeshtha might make best friends with a Kritika Nakshatra native, might be best friends with a Vishaga Nakshatra native. And they might actually be making use of a Barni Nakshatra native, actually get to control some kind of Satyabhisha kind of person. That can also play out. In secretive power, they're actually dealing with and this is some observation thing which I've seen, and many times these natives do have some kind of karma with Satyabhisha Nakshatra native one way or the other. They will have some kind of karma with some kind of Varna kind of karma, maybe a large institutional kind of karma. Now, the other subtle point I wanted to mention about Jyeshtha is that there is this theme of like, spiritual arrogance that can come, literally with Indra. Like, people who get some quick states and then, they experience bliss consciousness and all like, I'm Indra, I'm king, you guys should be listening to me and stuff like that, that kind of thing. So there's that kind of thing that can happen with now, Aditya, can you share that your screen? So that's very interesting because Indra is like high in Soma. He's like, these are the people who might smoke weed and then start philosophizing about the world and all that kind of thing, And but that's not it. So here is the one I wanted to share was the map of Jyeshtha, now with all the Rashis and all the influences there, and whatever Dr. Pai and whatever EG described, whatever Kapilji also described, all that can be seen here. Like in terms of like, if you make Jyeshtha Nakshatra, then Mars is getting exalted in the 3rd house, and Mars is angled small trichon in the 6th house, and Mars is getting debilitated in the 9th house. So biggest thing these Jyeshtha Nakshatra natives have to watch out for is that, remember the story of Indra insulting Brihaspati because he didn't accept the garland. So you can see Mars being double 9th house and Jupiter being exalted in Ninth house, that's a big for these natives to watch out for. Are they insulting their own advisors? Are they insulting their own gurus one way or the other? And that's a common thing. They might have some kind of karma to play out in terms of modifying the moral code and stuff like that. But then in spite, they should still watch out for literally, are they doing that, willingly or out of their own ignorance? That's something they have to be really aware about. The other thing is that big thing which Aditya was also highlighting, we talked about it a lot, how Mars is having its station and Mulatrikon Rashi, the laws from Jyeshtha Nakshatra Ascendant. So again, Virgo is big important for Jyeshtha Nakshatra native. So that's why they love to be on time, they love to be organized, all kind of things, But then Saturn being debilitated in 12th house, they feel a sense of loss, intense sense of time, Saturn being exalted in 12th house, in Libra. So they have to struggle with that. They have to some kind of time kind of thing. Biggest thing with, again, Jyeshtha, and again, Dr. Pai mentioned about Indra being a position. So it said that many times when you put in the work, you might suddenly rise to the top. And actually, again, I've seen that these natives who get like huge insurance claims or, huge settlement claims unexpected or, huge claims. Because again, Scorpios are natural 8th house of other people's money. So they are naturally drawn to risk and insurance industry, mortgage industry, that, Now, one last thing I'll say about Jyeshtha here is that, again, if you make Jyeshtha Nakshatra as the ascendant, Mercury being the 8th lord, and that's a lot of secrets, in my opinion. You can see how they are very secretive about the communication. With the Jyeshtha Nakshatra native, you can be 100.
I was just thinking, because you said when they put your work, because see, from Jyeshtha, the work is what? Again, Magha.
Exactly. King, right? Yeah.
Royal throne.
Exactly.
Their work is like a royal work.
A king. Yeah. Administration. Exactly. Literally, these are natural astrologers. People are natural, they are very natural at research. That's the biggest skill set they have. They can research anything. These are the people who will send their wives to gather information. These are the people who will send their friends to gather information. You tell them anything, they'll like, yeah, go ahead.
No. I was just laughing, send their wives to get information.
Yeah, exactly. They'll send their wives to get information. They'll send their husbands to get information.
Why wife, you say?
Why? Because, Venus and Mercury and all that, Moon is getting exalted, Moon is getting debilitated, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you look at a map, you can see like Venus, right? Venus is getting debilitated in the Rashi where Mercury is getting exalted. So you can see that wife is Venus, Mercury, so both those energies will, So like partners to get information, their friends to get information. These are the people who are friends to get information. And information is the biggest strength of power. That's why I've seen that these natives make excellent Prashna astrologers. They are very natural at propping. These are the people who just want to apply things very quickly. They'll be like, you do thing and they just want to apply things very quickly. It's like Mars and Mercury again, logic is very strong. They want to apply and see the results very quickly also. But biggest secret again with Jyeshtha is that they have a strong sense of occult power, which they are, if they to conquer their own fears or go through their own fears, there is nothing that they cannot conquer in this lifetime. That's the biggest thing. And many times it's our own fears that is actually holding us back. And when we actually let go the fear, when we face the fear for what it is, it's just an energy which is just changing. That's what fear is in the end. But if you face through that and if you go through that, then you can literally become Indra. That's the biggest thing I want anyone to take out of this. Even Jupiter is in Indra right now. Mercury has literally transited over into Mola. But the biggest thing is that many of the fears are just like energies which we haven't understood. And that's why that Mercury, they're trying to understand their own fears. Like when they talk with someone, when they talk with their friend, they actually begin to understand going through. And then that itself can help them in discriminating between what is good for them and what is not. And many times fear is something that is just dragging you down. It's the energy which is just dragging you down. And it's not fruitful at all in the end,
One thing I noticed with this map is that the person's Jyeshtha person's spouse will not only cause problem between them and their friends, but she may also elope with one of their friends.
It is possible, yeah.
Because the 7th lord gets debilitated in the 11th house.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
Jyeshtha.
Yes.
So she'll cause problem. So you're sending the wife out for information. she's gonna get into trouble.
Right. Lot of observations. Yeah, I've seen Jyeshtha wives.
Yeah, but I've seen that. For them, information is the biggest thing, and they'll use their family members to get information. everyone, cousins to get information, friends to get information. And remember the industry, right? Mortgage industry, security industry, like even like the stock market, the information biggest thing. They're always using their connection. They're always trying to get information, always on phone, stuff like that,
You're describing like utilitarianism, like you're kind of describing
exactly
someone who that understands that knowledge is power. So it's all about the power. In the end, it's all about the advantage, the security, the power, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's exactly that. Yeah.
People need to massage their spouse's feet because Venus's Mul Trikona is in the 12th house of feet.
Oh, really? Do you think that is going to work out?
I think so.
You think that is that possible? How long term is it sustainable?
I mean, it's gotta be very sustainable.
So
you think
that's a very good point, Kapiel. I think so because the Mula Trikona is Venus, is the 12th, and that gets exalted in the 5th house of love. So it's about trust you're going to build.
But the more they have the pleasure with their spouse, the more the spouse gives them pleasure, and the more they massage their feet.
Yeah.
You're trying to escape from fate.
No, they're just massaging their feet.
Yeah, you can also see Venus being exalted in Pisces, which is a natural house of feet, also thing. So it might actually work for a Jyeshtha native, and they
massaging the feet can actually bring in children too. So
yeah, but what I've seen exactly, and what I've seen exactly though, but what will happen is that you tell the Jyeshtha, you just need to massage your wife's feet, or you just need to massage your husband's feet. They'll be like, no, I can't do that. No, she's not gonna let me do that. No, he won't let me do that. That kind of thing. There's like karmic. You can see the karmic energetic blockage there, because you can see Mercury is also getting debilitated in the Pisces, which is again, we were being exalted.
Yeah.
So there is this theme there, So like, but if you have,
I said the best way for Jyeshtha to do that is just take the wife to the bed in the pleasure room and then have everything, massage the feet, get your pleasure done. You're good.
Yeah, as long as you massage your feet.
The massaging of the feet, that may be a problem for Jyeshtha person, but if you go to Venus's office in Libra, I mean, it's like.
Yeah, but but that's the thing. But you have to massage the feet first. That's the first thing, and then who's going to do that?
That's so conditional, Kapiel. That's very conditional.
No, it's like
it's actually the pie map.
Everybody's getting their pleasure in the 12th house in the bed. So one's getting the feet, one's getting everything else. It's
now one point I want to mention here is that Jyeshtha is also the eldest. I think Dr. Pai mentioned that Ganesha is very important for Jyeshtha. So Ganesha worship is very important. Like in Ganesha Chaturthi time, make a small Ganesha statue out of mud, worship him as a real Ganesha. After 10 days, do the Visarjan or put him in water and clear that thing. That's one big remedy I would suggest. The other remedy I would suggest is taking a dip in Ganga river or taking a dip in the oldest river in the land. Because
Jyeshtha is the eldest. Ganpati, because I just want to clarify, because Ganpati, because again, Jyeshtha, Ketu connection, correct?
Exactly. Yes, not just Ketu connection, because Dr. Pai mentioned he's the eldest son of Shiva. He was the eldest son of Shiva, and definitely Ketu connection is also playing out in Jyeshtha. You can see that.
Yeah,
but
Ganesha, of course, not in South.
How is the health of the Jyeshtha person? Because Saturn gets debilitated 6th from.
Now, see, one big thing I want to mention here, because the Jyeshtha is falling in a natural 8th house, they have to kind of control their sexual urges, sexual power. That's a big thing. So if they are like masturbating all day long, problem, then their health is going to suffer. That's one big thing that I see you are laughing, but it's an actual thing. And I've seen that. Now the other thing with Jyeshtha is also the sound associated with Jyeshtha is na, ya, ye. No, ya, ye, you. So any ya sound or no sound. So biggest thing for them to learn to say no whenever they need to, That's
what about dip in Yamuna?
Yeah, dip in Yamuna is also working. That'll be a great solution. But it will happen in a 6th house manner with Yamuna, because Yamuna is connected with Barni. But see, the thing is that biggest thing is that they can access the. Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing, what I've seen, the Jyeshtha native should never wear a socks which has a hole in it. 12th house is Venus, is the Mula Trikona. About feet, right. And
Yeah.
So they
Yeah, that should actually work. That will actually work. Wearing torn clothes is not good for especially his socks with the holes in it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, that's what it reminds me of. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
no, other. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Pai.
The socks is definitely connected with Jyeshtha. I would tell you that.
Yes. Yes. Now the yeah. One suggestion. Yeah, one astrologer actually said that because Jyeshtha, Scorpio's hidden sign, these natives might actually do well if they wear like darker color underwear, or lingerie, because it's like dark, right? Mars and all that. So that's one more thing I've seen with the Jyeshtha. Talk about socks and all that, clothes, right? So that's one thing I've seen.
Of course, undergarments, of course, 8th house again. So
yeah, it's possible. Yeah. Okay. But the biggest thing I want to say is, again, the power, right? That's also there. So that's one thing they need to, learn to master. But see, the health, right? So health is like, it's like Indra. So they should control that, and they should learn to use that power in yogic terms, like, do yoga, do meditation, use that. Even the other suggestion is also, because Mars is getting exalted over Jupiter is getting debilitated. If they begin to do some kind of go to pilgrimage or something, study some philosophy or study martial arts, that can actually help out, or study some like Tai Chi or
some guru thing, because exactly that is happening in the 9th house.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So and because thing is because Moon is getting debilitated in first house, so that is one thing. And so perhaps I would say like these natives might have some kind of issues with milk potentially, or they might have a fascination with milk and they become fat because they're eating a lot of sweets, stuff like that. That kind of thing is possible. The other thing is that perhaps they need to control liquid soma, right? So like definitely Rahu getting debilitated there, all that kind of thing. Is alcohol causing them problem? Like,
I didn't understand.
Like the beer belly, right? The beer belly. You drink a lot of beer, you're getting beer and belly, and you're becoming so fat to the point your knees are hurting. It's an actual problem, right? So your knees are sustaining a lot of weight, and you can't handle that much of pressure and all that kind of thing. So like biggest thing the key for Jyeshtha native, again, you have to see Saturn is getting debilitated in 6th house from Jyeshtha. So they need to fix up their routine, take care of physical routine and stuff like that. That's a big thing. That will be great if they begin with meditation practice, because Saturn is getting exalted in 12th house from Jyeshtha. So very big way to fix up many of the karmas, kind of give them the grounding that is needed, especially in their own home, because Saturn is, having this move to 4th house. So that's an easy way to fix that up. Any kind of 6-4-10 relationship with the Saturn can really, they can work a lot from their home, fix up their, karmas from home, or health routines from home, things like that, especially like, not wasting the sexual energy away, Like this actual thing called, no fap movement. People don't actually, don't even masturbate. It's kind of talking all these 8th house themes, But yeah, that's one kind of fun.
What's the fun in that?
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Around you.
Indra with that, man. Come on now. Indra won't be happy.
But so that's what Dr. Pai, any other remedies, any other suggestions for remedies for Jyeshtha natives? What can they do to improve things?
I would definitely say they should never misuse their knowledge, because 8th house is Mercury gets debilitated in the 5th house, which means preachings. They're preachings, because these people are known to preach also, but they should be very careful about preaching the wrong things, because that's where Mercury gets debilitated. And if they preach the wrong things, maybe it might impact even their, marital life, or maybe their, their life with their partners, because, Venus gets debilitated, in the 11th house. That's one thing. Second thing, what I've seen with Jyeshtha, this is a very, very important observation, which even Smriti mentioned. These people want to attain a sort of, control over one form of any knowledge or any information that they like. For example, I'll give you the example of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, he has his ascendant in Jyeshtha Nakshatra, and a lot of planets in Swati. So it was about breath control, and also about his 1-inch punch, which was very, very lethal. So he practiced that 1-inch punch maybe 10,000 or 50,000 times. So Jyeshtha always want to have that one technique. Even in their astrological readings, they will use one technique very effectively, you know. And if somebody comes to them even in their sleep and wake them up and say, they will ask you, okay, what about this? Oh, that is working. Yes, because they've tested that one technique in a 10,000 or 20,000 times on different charts. The same thing with martial arts. They will use a particular chop or a punch or a kick very, very effectively. They'll practice it over and over again, so that they can be so perfect that nobody can even, you know, counter that. So I think, you know, Kapil, you will also see this even in sports, you know, NBA or whatever, you know, if it is basketball, something about their throw or how they dunk or whatever, that becomes their trademark.
Michael Jordan had Jyeshtha Nakshatra, and his trademark signature move was a fadeaway. Nobody did that before him, and then after that, everybody started doing it, but that's the way. Nobody could block it, nobody could come after it, and he would just fade away far and then throw the shot. So that was his trademark.
No, but the third house from Jyeshtha is the Capricorn, where Mars exiles. So maybe something with third house, Mars exiles.
And the hands as well. Like you mentioned about hands, everything to do with the hands is. So something about that and repeatedly trying to do. I think now Jupiter is transiting Jyeshtha, which is Jiva Karaka. And this is a good time to identify one of those traits that you have and to master that, you know, completely. It might be a technique, it might be a system of astrology, it might be a you know, a martial art move, or even, you know, something that you can make your own trademark. So if you can make a trademark, I think that is what, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, that's and one more important point which Sandeep mentioned, which I really liked about, is Jyeshtha natives might have a karma with their father, just like Karna. Because, you know, see, sun gets debilitated in the 12th house. It's the 10th house of your karma. I mean, the Mula Trikona of sun is Leo, the 10th house of karmas, and it is debilitated in the 12th house. So it's something about their karma that they need to really, you know, understand. Okay. So
what else?
Yeah, the other one point quickly mention is that usually what these natives are put in, they are reluctant managers. They are put in certain positions. They have to manage things. You know, they are emergency managers. One thing I also seen is that they have become senior managers very quickly, or they have some kind of karma with senior managers, like some kind of seniors because eldest, right? So that's one other thing I just want to mention on that. Yeah, but that's what I have. That's what I have so far. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, has top elite athletes, right? Kapiel is
right.
being mischievous. I just
yeah.
just, but you notice who all these people that we're noticing that we're mentioning, like Bruce Lee's another legacy. I just want to emphasize that point. I even think Jim Morrison, if someone wants to look, I think his son or something was prominent in Jyeshtha. And I think Aditya ji, did you mention the straddling the death and life?
Oh, the Savitri's thing?
Yes. Oh, yes, because it's the Bharani. He had both. You know, this is something interesting for students of nakshatras to start combining. Like if someone maybe has Bharani and Jyeshtha, there's going to be more of that propensity to push, you know, towards the other side, or have that kind of courage. But think about the themes of the third house, guys. I mean, it's leadership, teamwork, Kapiel, just leadership, teamwork, and yeah. So I'm getting distracted.
Courage, bravery.
Courage.
Yeah.
Those kinds of, think about sports teams as well, like the teamwork that has to happen in order to win the goal, to make it, and to have success. You're having to be the leader of the team. But you'll see this a lot with Mars-Mercury interactions. Actually, you'll see a lot of fighters. You know, people who are really skilled in the physical somehow. But Dr. Paiji, that's so correct about the one skill or the perfected set of skills. They really do depend on what they've perfected. To dominate, some way to conquer. Yeah.
I think the table or the chart of Sandeep, like if you put Jyeshtha Nakshatra in the ascendant, then you have third house where Mars exiles. So definitely some unique capability with some hands or something.
Yeah.
Then
exactly.
you have ninth house is again where Mars is debilitated and Jupiter is getting exalted. So something related to the Guru for this.
Right.
So third house, ninth house, and then there's 11th house where you have Venus going there and getting debilitated and Mercury getting exalted. So something in
Yeah.
that. So I think
Right.
third, ninth, and 11th house pay attention to this maybe.
But have you guys seen the theme
because
where Jyeshtha person struggle in the first half, but then they rise in life? Or have you seen where they just...
Well, one thing I have to say is that the Jyeshtha natives, and this is a common remedy in general for all natives, but for Jyeshtha natives in particular, when you begin to honor ancestors, because Rahu and Ketu is getting involved in the Jyeshtha Nakshatra, Rahu is getting debilitated, Ketu is getting exalted. So if you begin to honor your ancestors, if you begin to honor the past, maybe like through ancestral rituals, something like that, that might actually be good. So like you do the regular tarpan on Amavasya day or new moon days, you give offerings to your ancestors. But definitely for every Maga native, I usually say you should have an altar for your ancestors and you're giving them some kind of, fire, water, earth, air also, if possible, stuff like that, So yeah, definitely that's what I can say, in terms of that. And because then what that would mean that is then the Rahu Ketu, once the Rahu Ketu and their karma is paid off, and then they begin to take off. That's also possible, because could be that the Saturn being exalted in the 12th house, some kind of past life karma is being cleared up before they can actually make progress in their career and stuff like that.
That's strange you say that. The Ganesha that I have, it's called Nritti Ganesha, the 32nd.
Right.
That's connected to Maga, the ancestors.
Yes.
So
yes.
Can you just worship that, or do you need to have like the altar?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. That's also the other reason to do that. The Ganesha, Nritti Ganesha, which you mentioned, definitely dancing Ganesha. Yeah, but as long as you worship it, you shouldn't ignore it.
Associated with Jyeshtha. Dr. Pai, you may be knowing, correct?
Sorry?
Ganesha associated with Jyeshtha Nakshatra.
Yeah, we'll have to look. We'll have to look it up. But I've seen that with Ganesha, you shouldn't ignore it. Like whatever deities you have in altar, you shouldn't. There will be, it's like disrespecting. You have like five sets of
every day I'm doing their mantras, and then I've got a Lakshmi coming too. In a week. So I'm getting just deep into these things. So.
Yeah. So one other interesting thing I would say is also because it's called Yatukula Rashi, right? Connecting with Krishna is also a great solution in general. Because, Krishna was the one who subdued the ego of Indra. So like all kind of forces. So you find these are the people that go for devotion. It's like Anuradha, right? Anuradha is the, Abhishatra also for Jyeshtha. So they might be drawn to that kind of devotional path also naturally. At some point that can also happen. So yeah.
Great. So, wow.
I was just looking at the Ganesha.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Pai.
I was just looking at the Ganesha for this one. It's called Shrishti Ganesha. Shrishti.
Creation Ganesha. Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see that it's opposite of Jyeshtha is Rohini, where creation, growth, Mrigashira, Rohini.
Exactly. Very interesting.
What are you holding in your hand?
Yeah, what is he holding?
What is that?
Symbol of Jyeshtha, yes.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah. I'm thinking in the screen. I'm like, where is that? It's all on this screen.
You guys were asking Sandeep. I was looking at
your balls. You're looking at your balls. Dr. Pai was like,
yeah. Well,
we need to stop recording now.
Yeah, we should stop recording, Kapil. Bring it to a close, Kapil,
Yes. Thank you guys for finally completing this Jyeshtha video. And I know people are thinking, what in the world are they laughing at? We were chatting. There were some chat comments coming from all of us. So just ignore it, but leave. And And Sandeep, you know, he brought his toys and tools too. Oh, thank you so much, guys, for finally completing Jyeshtha. And I shall stop recording right now.